All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. It is the Sunday night edition of the REMINGTOM pod. We've got a classic summer movie to get to here in a second, but we've got a goal in the World Cup. Hey, yo, England versus Mexico is fired up right now, and I think it was Sam's guy Bellington. Hey, yo, again, we don't really know anything about soccer, so I guess I think that's the guy. But I know from soccer corners in the past that Sam has mentioned him, and there has been some names that it is good having the at least the baseline. Like we said, we don't have a lot of soccer knowledge, but we do have the names that have been brought up in the conversations in the past. So seeing guys like is it you mean Lamal? Am I saying that correctly? But there's the I mean Mbappe and stuff as well too. Hey now we're really get welcome to the sports pod chat. We know Mbappe, but yeah, I guess again for soccer, Bellingham, yeah, is the guy. So gets the goal at the 36th minute there. England up 1-0. I guess I don't know if this is the direct game that they play the U.S. next, winner of this game. I guess we don't look at the bracket, but and I was gonna say, but they're just running a replay there, so I guess we'll let them get excited about that. But yeah, and we were doing a little bit of a summer league catch up as well too, looking at the scores. Again, the World Cup definitely keeping us entertained. We do need to figure out a way. A lot, as I said. Oh, did they actually score again? No way, Chad. Hey, I was like, it's 2-0 now. Bellingham, it was almost identical. Hey, yo. Oh, Chad, he's in his messy bag. Hey, did he steal it? Was it like a fast break? Oh, Chad, look at that. I mean, it was like kind of the same side of the goal as well, too. I was a little confused. I was like, am I seeing that right? And because, obviously it just happened. The minutes were close enough. It gets rounded up there, I guess. I guess we should have, 36 or 37, 38 is different than 36, but still, hey, they don't score this much in soccer. Twice in 2 minutes. Oh, Chad, England, they pulled away. That's tough. That is really like giving up a touchdown, then throwing a pick six right afterwards. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, how is this 14-0 or whatever I guess, it being 0-0. I guess what the individual person would be, maybe it would have to be more. It would have to be more like running a kickoff back, because in football you don't really have the ability. I guess in American football, it's rare, I should say. I guess you do have the ability to play offense and defense, but it is rare. It is extremely rare. Shout out. We'll see Travis Hunter. If he's able to keep that up. I was like, wait a second. It's a good thing we got the name there. I was like, who's that guy that's trying to play receiver and corner in the NFL right now? Hey, year one. It's just a start. It's just a start. Injuries. We'll blame the injuries. It'll be fine. Obviously, again, there's a great history of guys playing offense and defense there. But either way. And it is a little of the Derek Queen situation for the Pelicans as well, too, because they gave up the extra picks involved. If Travis Hunter just goes to normally, it just is a different conversation. But, regardless, it would have to be like the guy running the kickoff back. Like if your cornerback was your kick returner. And then I'm trying to think, maybe like Marcus Peters. Like who's a kick returner corner right now? There has to be one. But I guess like you still have guys like Peppers has done punt returns and stuff in the past, but yeah, I don't know like actively who would be the best defensive kick returner in the league. And I guess is Shaheed just the best returner in the league right now? He's obviously a receiver, but yeah, the ability to be able to get the touchdowns that quickly, I guess would have to be, or just multiple pick sixes, or I guess Randy Moss had that stat line on Thanksgiving that one time that was like 4 catches, 100 and some yards, and 3 touchdowns. So if that was just like consecutive plays, it could be that. But again, it can't really be consecutive plays for offense, because you would still have to have, unless it's an onside kick. Unless you do an onside kick, you could, I guess, have a touchdown, then do an onside kick, and then throw another touchdown right away. And then maybe that would be the quickest equivalent for a player scoring in 2 plays like that. But, again, as a team, obviously, you can score the 2 points. But I'm thinking like as an individual player in the NFL being able to score 2 points. I guess, again, in the NBA, obviously, the the all time on the field on the whole time comparison is the same there. But either way, Chet, Ayo, now that we've got soccer figured out going on, but again, obviously Bellingham, I don't know where he would be at currently for for soccer. And that is the impressive thing about Messi still as well. Obviously, it's a little bit like LeBron where he carries the name value. But, just for being the biggest legacy guy in the sport as well, too, like he's going to be. Did Mexico just get a goal, chat? Hey, yo, look at this. Look at this. Hey, we got some scoring right here. 3 points in less than 10 minutes overall is crazy. Is this one of the most action-packed sequences in the 2026 World Cup so far? Who's to say? But is that off that was like a baseline out of bounds, chat. Hey, yo. I don't know what the correlation is there. It's a little like football and basketball, I guess, combined in some ways, where you have the out of bounds plays anyways. I don't know. Does the NBA need to take some sort of crossover from soccer in that type of way, in football? In that type of way, because they have started to borrow a little bit from American football in some ways. Sometimes you'll get some guys like running some crossing routes or something on an inbound. So maybe there's some type of soccer movement, I don't know, do you say soccer stack? I don't know what they call the formations. But maybe there's some type, I guess, formation. I guess there's some type of soccer formation maybe that you could be copying there. So, I don't know. We'll have to see if we can send hopefully Mitch Johnson is watching the World Cup, I guess, or watching basketball as well. If he's studying film, I guess we can't blame him there. We're not gonna tell him to not watch film to, watch the World Cup. But if he is, it is one of those things where, those top coaches, I feel like, can kind of pull the different things from different sports, and it might not always be on the field play type stuff, but I don't know. There's just always something that I feel like they're able to translate there from watching the different things. So, again, obviously. Hopefully, chat. Hey, are we gonna sneeze? Nope. It's going away. Okay, we're good. But yeah, I guess hopefully Miss Johnson's watching with a careful eye. In some ways, they did show Jay-Z was at one of the games. I think that was the last game. Who was just on? Was it Brazil versus Norway? Was Jay-Z at that one, or was he at the last one? I forget. Keeping an eye. But is he prepping for the concert, chat? Hey, we've got the 30th anniversary, the Jay-Z 30 show right around the corner here. But I guess taking a time out to watch the soccer game, you like to see it. So I don't know. Will he be at any of his Brooklyn Nets summer league games after who did they just draft? A Cuff went to the Kings. They got Mikael Brown out of Louisville. I guess, he was a little injured during the college season, so we'll have to see if he's actually playing here in the summer league. So I don't know. Will Mikael Brown out of Louisville get Jay-Z out to a summer league game? I'm not sure. You'd be like, Jay-Z would never go to a summer league. I wouldn't say never. If Brooklyn had somehow drafted Wemby, I feel like Jay-Z would have been there. And, you still, I guess, same like LeBron is at summer league, like he is in the NBA in a different way that obviously, again, a guy like Jay-Z has been an owner sort of the outside. And I guess, the minority owners, just from from a ownership stake standpoint, obviously, I don't know what the scene is. I guess everybody goes to summer league though, but how many other, well, I guess, a lot of the other smaller stake owners are probably going to be owners and other things, so they got other things going on. But either way, I guess we'll have to get out to summer league and see what the crowd is like out there. But either way, what are we saying about soccer? He was at one of the games. Bellingham, he's pretty good. Oh, we were saying for Messi, one of the impressive things still about Messi is obviously that it just seems like he is still, hot take, but the best soccer player in the world. But I don't think that there is still like I just haven't heard the conversation of the other names around him just to get it. Maybe that's just where Messi takes up all the, all the space right now. But, again, if we were comparing him to LeBron, like we're saying, LeBron is still like the name value dominant guy, but you still kind of know what the hierarchy of the league is at this point. And it's not like he's too far off. Again, it's not like LeBron's not impactful. It's not like his free agency doesn't mean anything here. It's not like, again, if he picks the right team, I guess, if he goes to the Warriors, I don't know if the Warriors are going to be, a LeBron, I don't know if they're LeBron away from winning the title, but he definitely has the ability to, get a team over the edge to winning the championship. But, again, for him being like the guy that just throws his team on the back and carries his team. And I guess do we even still have to check if should we check if Argentina's still in the World Cup, chat? Hey, yo, little World Cup bracket update. Before we go any further, I'm like, let's just make sure Messi is still in this. But it's still impressive what he's been doing from a scoring standpoint. Anyways, I feel like he's been leading the cup in goals if he hasn't. So I guess they play they play Tuesday against Egypt. So that'll be their round of 32 matchup. Is that what we're in right now? Round of 16, I guess, maybe. But yeah, like they will be up in a couple of days here. So I guess technically yes, they are still in the bracket. They just haven't played their bracket game at this point. But and they're minus 255 so far, so I don't know. Is that the largest pause left at this point? Hey, yo. But I guess it's just this one. Is this one side of the bracket? Oh no, US is right here. I was like, where's US? Oh, Belgium's. I was like, with the Belgium's favored? No, Belgium plus 160 is just the one they have displayed there. So the US is favored. But, did somebody almost score again, chat? Mexico's got a couple of close shots on goal here in the last couple of minutes as well. They just had one that just kind of hooked off to the right. Hey, yo. And then this one, chat, what a save. Hey, yo. Tried to headbutt it in. I think that would have been close to getting the top crossbar there. But, yeah, the goalie definitely, hey, yo, definitely saved, definitely did his job. Shout out, But, and I wonder if Team USA I guess Wemby would play for France. Hey, he wouldn't play for Team USA. It's like, could they get Wemby to be a goalie? But maybe we can't give that idea out because it wouldn't, that would be, France would be even more of a cheat code, I guess, because if that, again, not having any soccer knowledge, that is one thing that we have seen. And obviously, like I said, the limited that we do, Mbappe, hey, yo, they do have him. But, did Bellingham save the goal this time, chat? They got the kick from the side. And then another sort of headbutt shot. And then number 3 for Mexico was right there. Tried to get it off his, tried to get it off his knee from about 3 feet in. And then Bellingham kind of swiped in. I don't know if they gave him like a little penalty there for undercutting or whatever. But at least, is that like a foul to save a goal type of situation or foul on a fast break type of situation? I don't know. But what are we saying again? Obviously, I just haven't heard the name of and I guess Mbappe would be the name as well too. But it just seems like Messi is, continuing to separate himself just individually. I mean, maybe, again, there's more to soccer than just is Messi scoring every goal on this team. And, I guess France being, tested against Paraguay, 1-0 there. I don't know. Do we have stats? Can we see how Mbappe's doing for goals scored? And maybe there's another guy as well too. Is he actually number 1 right now too, chat? Hey, yo, so it is him and Messi. And does he have more? What's versus G? Hey, yo, points versus goals. So does Messi have Messi has like a penalty kick or something? So Mbappe actually has more goals in play. Hey, yo, so Messi is just dominating the storylines then. I guess Mbappe is obviously, hot take. Hey, yo, everybody's good. Haaland right there as well too. Harry Kane. For England. So in this game as well too. So Kane and Bellingham, both for England. Hey, yo. And then France with another player here as well too. Dembele. And then Sarr for Senegal. Oh, Sarr, chat. Hey, yo, we got a Sarr. Could the Wizards get him? I guess as well too. I don't know. But and then Brazil. I think I was wondering where Neymar was at for this World Cup. I was like, I haven't heard Neymar as much. And then I think they showed him watching the Brazil game from the stands. I was like, oh, well, that's why I haven't heard Neymar's name being called. And at least Ronaldo's still in the mix there. Hey, yo, pause. Three goals, 4 points. Am I reading this right? I don't even know if I am. Hey, yo. But, at least you see his name up there as well, too. Again, I guess we wouldn't necessarily be Team Ronaldo. I think Sam is pretty Team Messi. I mean, I feel like he respects Ronaldo's game, but I don't know if we have to double check that or not. He might be, hey, we'll have to sabotage him on a Sunday night, call him up. It's an emergency. Hey, yo, we need to know. You're definitely Team Messi, right? He's not, in the Ronaldo camp, but I think Sam is a LeBron guy over Jordan. So I'm not saying that I have a, stance. I think I'm pretty neutral. It seems like both of them are pretty good options for the best player of all time. But I think, Sam is definitely taking a pro LeBron side. So not to say that that would be like the Ronaldo side of the Messi debate, I guess, but I don't know. It just seems like the sort of, there just seems to be like the new school sort of thing with Messi that, or with Ronaldo, that maybe you would get with LeBron there. I don't know. Messi seems more like the traditional sort of old school, greatest of all time. And I don't know, is that kind of what Jordan is compared to LeBron in some ways? Because, as much as Bill Russell, shout out Kareem again, Magic, there are all those guys that you bring up as well too. Like the old heads do still, like it is Michael Jordan, a hot take. Like he is the number one guy. So, it would be, and I guess, that's just current for soccer. I don't know all time as well too. Like Pele and stuff, you got to start, throwing in other names there. So that's where, again, our limited soccer knowledge doesn't necessarily help out, but at least for the current guys, that is a close. I feel like that would be kind of the correlation there. But I do think that, I guess, we can't assume. I would assume that, but if we did assume, we're gonna assume that he's pro Messi for the debate there. And again, and I think Ronaldo has. There was a stat like, they have played in a similar amount of World Cups. Like the dominance over the span has been similar, in that regard as well too. But I think Messi has just done a little bit more, and most recently winning the World Cup as well too is definitely gonna help that argument for sure. And seems like is wait a second, what do we got? Ronaldo, Portugal. So wait, let's go back to the bracket here. Is Portugal even in it at this point? I would assume. Come on, he's got to be hanging around. Okay, so they play tomorrow against Spain. Hey, yeah, you have Spain favored -110. So I don't know, is that just a bad matchup for him there? I mean, again, France is just a stacked team as well, and then I guess in some ways so is Argentina, but but is that just because you have Messi as well? So and then they'll have Switzerland. Hey, yeah, what country did we just say? Switzerland versus Colombia. Looks like they'll be their next matchup there. So Norway versus England, I guess maybe. I don't know what the seeding was here exactly, but definitely seems like it was a little bit favorable for him there as well. Again, just in terms of the star power. I mean, giving England the win as well too, just because they're in the lead at this point. Again, obviously Mexico has the chance here, but our breakdown, but again, the star power between, like we're saying, Kane and Bellingham and Haaland going at it in that game. Pause. Like, it seems like Argentina at least is, avoiding a couple of the guys there as well too. And then you do have US in the Spain, Portugal, France side. Hey, Chad, I guess, again, we don't know anything about soccer, but I feel like that would be a tough matchup. The USA versus Ronaldo would be insane just from obviously a marketing standpoint. And hey, Chad, I don't want to call out Ronaldo. Would we rather play Ronaldo? I guess, we'd rather play the non-better team, I guess, if there's, a better way to phrase that. And I don't know, I guess maybe Lamal, are we saying his last name right? Maybe Lamal being a sort of newer star as well too. I don't know, but I guess they also have Oyarzabal as another leading scorer on the team. So again, they obviously well rounded there. But yeah, I feel like the U.S. journey could be we gotta really lock into these next couple of games here, because it could definitely get tough. I don't know what they said. What did they say the farthest they've ever advanced? Was it the Elite Eight? Was the farthest they ever advanced, the quarterfinals? So they would need to get past either Portugal or Spain to at least match that, if I'm not mistaken. But maybe it is just the round of 16. So maybe a win against Belgium here would equal the sort of the longest tournament run. But USA versus France as well too. Again, like Nike's gonna have a good time marketing these games. Adidas, whatever the sportswear companies involved are, you get Mbappe involved in some of this stuff. Like there will be a win in some degree just by the matchup. But in terms of actually winning in soccer, I don't know. Again, we don't really know, but that seems like it would start to get a little tough there as well. Again, England Norway. But there's only one team that can advance there, Argentina. So we might be, if I can just guess at this point. And again, I guess we can't like literally rank every team, but maybe we would say that France and Spain would be better than the U.S. at this point. Norway and England, and then Argentina. So I guess if U.S. is arguably the sixth best team in the bracket. I don't know if there's a way to rank it here as well. Let's see. Stats, standings, schedule standings. Let's see if there's a way. I guess the U.S. did lose, but they were kind of, injured up in that game. What's this goal differential? Oh, you've got Mexico is at +6 right now. Hey, yo. Canada +5. Brazil at +6, but they're out. Germany's at +6 as well too. The Netherlands at +6. Oh, Belgium at +4, chat. Hey, yo, so the US we might be just taking the odds a little too for granted there. France is at +8. Argentina +7. Portugal +5. England is at +4 as well too. So wait, where is the US here on this list? Oh, they were at +4 as well too. I guess they have it sorted by, groups and not in a full list. Can we get just like a normal list here? I don't know, probably not. But yeah, again, top six is definitely something as well too. I guess the part we wouldn't know is this a team that's set up going forward as well too. That is I guess maybe a little bit of the situation of it being every 4 years. It just not being able to necessarily just run back the World Cup next year with the same team or whatever. But again, obviously the US's respectability in soccer. I mean, there was a couple years ago where we didn't even qualify, or we almost didn't qualify, and then somehow we barely got in. I mean, we did, I think, advance far enough last year to automatically qualify, but I guess we had like kind of the host team situation as well too this year that we could have kind of fallen back on maybe if we needed to. Does every year at the World Cup the host team automatically qualify? So I think the last couple of times maybe it wouldn't have mattered. Or maybe I'm thinking about that for like basketball or something, like the France they played it in Paris or whatever, so France would have qualified anyways. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, again, at least it is good to at least think that US is in the mix and has the chance anyways. So I guess like we're saying, for the US, the marketing side of things keeps us engaged in the sports there, but gives us new stars as well too. Like obviously Pulisic was a guy that was kind of like a name that was around there for a little bit in sort of the amateur circles for a while. So to see him kind of deliver in some ways. Hey, yo, chat, the Chalamet of soccer. I don't know if it was kind of like the early prodigy type stuff. And obviously there's been other guys in the team that have done more scoring as well too. But again, we have to start giving them their props for a good run now. Hey, yo, just in case, chat. But obviously, they're favored against Belgium, so we'll hopefully hope that is correct there. But and that's tomorrow. So I guess hey, yo, Tuesday we could be saying RIP to the Team USA. We'll have to see. But maybe one more game in the tournament here. But yeah, I think at least Mbappe might be too much. If I almost said if the Spurs, hey, yo, Chad, if the US is able to get a win over Mbappe, I mean that'd be pretty crazy. I guess I don't know where that would rank in US international moments, but it would start getting into pretty good upset territory for sure. I don't know if this team, hey, yo, speaking of, I guess, Miracle on Ice, Kurt Russell plays, what's the name of the coach? Not Herb Dean. Herb Dean's the USC rep. What's the name of the Miracle on Ice coach, chat? Hey, yo, Herb something. What if we go Herb Dean, Herb Brooks? There we go. I guess not Herb Alpert, not Herb Dean, but Herb Brooks, the third Herb in the Google search. I guess for famous Herbs, chat, shout out. I guess for famous guys named Herbert, for famous guys named Herbert, for famous guys first name Herbert, because I guess now you have Justin Herbert as well too. But yeah, Kurt Russell obviously does that's his character work, chat. Kurt Russell doesn't get credit for doing biopic character work throughout the course of his career, but he played Herb Brooks in Miracle on Ice, or it's just called Miracle. I think the Disney movie. I guess the point is I don't know if this soccer team necessarily has like Miracle on Ice level territory, but it could definitely get up there as well too. Team USA basketball has had some underdog type moments, but for the most part, it's been dominant, and the greatness of Team USA basketball moments have been just that. It's been like, oh, this team is like really, really excelling. I guess this last tournament was one where that's the closest we've had for the team being like a really all-time talented team, but also being tested as well too. Because again, like the dream team, the special part of that team was they just destroyed everybody. It was like, okay, this is just the best team of all time. And I guess the 12 team was a little bit like that as well too. But the 24 team was like, oh no, they actually had to like go out and win that. And it was great because, again, it was still all those legendary guys as well too. So there was still the proof that's like, oh yeah, the world's catching up, but at least for this year, LeBron and Stephen Durant are still, proved that they were, the best that, was playing at the time that they were. But for, again, for this soccer team, I think, and then what's the one, I guess, how do we describe this moment, Chet? Hey, I feel like if I just say, like, what's the one soccer moment where the girl rips off her shirt? Like, that might be a little of a basic way to phrase it, but that's, like, what the iconic moment is, right? Like, even if it is, even if I don't know how to say it right, like, that's what the moment is. Brandi Chastain is the name, right? Is that the 96 Olympics? I guess let's, investigate real quick what the actual details of that were. Two-time gold medalist for Brandi Chastain there, FIFA World Cup. So maybe that was Olympics. I guess, we're talking international competitions. So FIFA and the Olympics kind of, both in the same category there. Yeah, 96 Olympics. She played every minute of the U.S. despite suffering a knee injury. Hey, the gold medal game. The 99 World Cup. Scored a goal. Later, Chastain, who missed a penalty kick against China months earlier, scored the deciding penalty against the same opponent in the finals, clinching the World Title Cup for the U.S. in the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. So, okay, yeah, so it was actually the World Cup that I'm thinking of that they got it, and they did win in the U.S. So I think in that moment is pretty iconic as well, too. I don't know if, again, the 2026 team has more underdog potential than this team. We're not trying to, discredit any other great moments there. I'm just saying, just for what the sort of expectation was. We have to go back and pull up the odds, I guess, for, the 99 FIFA World Cup and see what the favorites were there. But that is, again, for international USA soccer moments, that might be the number one, honestly. This might be the number one Team USA soccer moment. And I guess the ladies team has been pretty dominant as well, too. So I can't say number one. It's that number one, again, like, sort of underdog, heroic, documentary type moment. But obviously, like the Rapinoe team and Alex Morgan and that era that we just had as well too. Like that was pretty dominant as well. So again, obviously they qualify for the great moment category. But again, I think you would have to obviously give the 2026 men's team a little. You have to give them a little bit of credit. I think a Final Four run would be right there if they were in the Final Four. Like that'd be pretty impressive. I mean, you do get to a point in the NCAA tournament where, like Loyola Chicago makes the Final Four, and it's like, okay, I guess at this point, yes, they could win the national title, but the sort of historic season has also been accomplished as well too. So not to say, again, they mentally like let up or anything like that, but again, that would still be pretty great. Like we're saying, Argentina, it would be, I guess, it would have to be what, France versus the U.S. versus Argentina versus Colombia, maybe. Hey, Chad, I don't know what we're talking about here. We're talking about a soccer match, I guess, at this point. Let's see. I guess, the quarterfinals, and then I guess then it goes to the cup final. So I guess maybe it is like a little bit of a. I guess it might be a round ahead of what it is for like the NCAA because you do have two teams left or four teams left at the end because you have a third place game. Like you don't have a third, fourth place game in the NCAA bracket for March Madness. So, I guess the round situation does work slightly different there for, how maybe you say it, but it could be, at least in terms of, so I guess, yeah, it would be a final 8, or do you play the Final Four and then you just reshuffle the teams? I guess for hey yo chat. See we now we're all of a sudden we're not looking at a March Madness bracket and our brains are broken. It is what it is. That's how simple as sports fans we are. At this time, we're like, what's this World Cup bracket going on over here? But I guess point being, it could be like we're saying, I guess it would be Argentina, Norway, U.S., and France would be the potential final eight there, and then they would, I guess, battle out the order or final four. Hey, yo, again, we don't even know how to say it, chat. It is what it is. We got to just stop talking about soccer and start talking about this movie. Hey, yo, Carpenter and Kurt Russell. What do we know about chat? Carpenter and Kurt Russell. That is for sure. We should just get it fired up here and get it going. We might be able to watch it twice tonight. A brisk pace. Carpenter. I don't. Do we even have to look up what the pause like the longest Carpenter movie is? Hey yo, Carpenter might be the best. He's like the Chris Paul, the Jason Kidd of movie making. He's like doesn't need the points per game to be able to, have a great performance for his movie. Like They Live is like an hour 20 minutes, and like 8 to 9 minutes of the movie is that fight between Keith David and what's the name of the other guy in that movie? I forget the actual name of the star in that movie. Hey yo, chat. But again, like it's like the movie itself's like an hour long, and then Carpenter's like, okay, I guess we have to make this a little bit longer than 60 minutes. Pause. Let's just make it a 10-minute fight sequence between Keith David and the other guy whose name we don't remember at this point. But I mean, yeah, again, Escape from New York. Obviously, under an hour 40. Halloween, the magnum opus for Carpenter is another super rewatchable, super lean movie as well too. And just in terms of ideas as well for directors, I don't know if anybody was as good with just as simple of an idea as well too as Carpenter was. I mean, obviously, you start going through any sort of or auteur, I guess if we could say the word, any auteur type director that's writing up their own original material and all that stuff. There is gonna be obviously like Spielberg. Hey, hot take. Spielberg's got some great ideas for some movies. Like Scorsese's got some great ideas, but even those guys were like adapting more books and stuff as well too. I guess Carpenter was, remaking some things. Like The Thing is I just watched the movie the other day. I guess, I just had it on in the background. I can't say like, sat down with the popcorn and watched it, but it's the movie that like kind of inspired The Thing. It's, the Antarctic mission. They find the alien life form starts taking over. I forget exactly The Thing. I have to go back up in Tubi, I guess, and scroll through and see what that one was called. But when I was looking it up online afterwards, it was like, oh, this is the movie that was really monumental in setting up The Thing. I guess we could just look it up here as well too. Which movie inspired The Thing? Let's see what we've got here. The Thing from I guess The Thing from Another World, chat. I guess we can't even remember the name for that. It is what it is. But it's Carpenter's got the 1982 classic. The 1951 classic is the one that it is kind of based off of. So again, there is obviously influences there for some of the things that Carpenter was doing throughout the course of his career. But again, if you just were like, who has the best simple premise, movies throughout the course? And I guess, even for like Spielberg and stuff, there were times as well too that obviously, again, they were working with other writers and not necessarily the director filmmaker, the director screenwriter sort of combo the way that Carpenter was. Let's see for Spielberg here what we got for which ones he actually wrote. He wrote Close Encounters of the Third Kind. He didn't write E.T. as well. He wrote Poltergeist, but didn't technically direct it, but kind of did there. And hey, chat, the intro as well too, as we talk about some of the stuff here. We're missing the intro for Escape from New York, which again is just one of the best intros for any movie ever, with the Jamie Lee Curtis voiceover. Continues her work with Carpenter in an iconic way as well too. They're just fun for her to at least be in the universe in this movie. Sets up the premise perfectly as well too. It's definitely one of the best, like, throws you into it sort of, Carpenter movies as as well. Where, again, like Halloween, you got kind of like a setup. You're like, okay, we're kind of like starting here with something. And I guess you do have like the cold open as well too of, you know, Myers with with him as a child there in the, getting the murder sprees kicked off. But it's like, okay, the transport is happening. It's kind of like a movie start in some type of ways. I guess a transport. I guess we got a transport in this one. Is that an iconic theme for a Carpenter movie? You have to have a transport to start the movie. I guess are they transporting something in The Thing as well, or They Live? I feel like the guy in They Live's like a truck driver. That might be his vibe, but I feel like that's kind of his job as well too. So hey, yo, Carpenter a big fan of the transportation methods of the country. I mean, Escape from New York, you get the display of the impossibility of that to start off here, chat. Just hey, yo, just taking the guys out. It is what it is. They're on the raft, they're trying to get away. Nope, the helicopter's out there patrolling. They're not great aim with the first set of flares, but the Carpenters are not holding back. Hey, yo, the raft. Speaking of Spielberg, that is a little kind of like when the boat blows up in Jaws there. When the helicopter just nukes that raft. Hey, yo, chat, not good. Not good. But, again, obviously they're showing that, they're not messing around in 1997. I mean, hey, yo, we got to get to 1997, New York as well too. I guess Spielberg wasn't even really writing his movies. Let's see here. Scorsese. Let's see what we got for what he was doing. Obviously, we know like Coogler now is writing his movies and stuff. Who wrote Goodfellas, chat? Hey, yeah, what do we got here? Okay, writers in a different column. Yeah, Scorsese wrote Goodfellas. He wrote Mean Streets. Didn't write Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, Color of Money. He wrote Casino. Didn't write The Departed. He wrote Silence, and he was screenwriter for Killers of the Flower Moon as well too. So obviously with the screenwriting credits he does have to go into the category of greatest of all time, but just for again his own individual work. Like it wasn't the same sort of thing where Carpenter's out here like he's just like, yeah, I have another idea, sure. It is what it is. And obviously the Halloween franchise becomes his magnum opus legacy, and he is involved in a lot of ways in a lot of the Halloween movies. The score, he's such an iconic score guy, and we'll get to that for this movie as well too. Such an iconic score guy that again that keeps his legacy involved for the for the Halloween franchise. But if you just again look at what he's directing as well too, it's not even. I guess this is kind of like not in order for all of them, but again, obviously, it's so much more than just like he got stuck doing Halloween movies at some point where it's like, here's like, because that can be kind of a thing as well, too. Even, going, we obviously say now that franchising is at, the peak of its powers in some ways, obviously, maybe even a little too much. But, even back in the day, they were still, franchising and remaking and, sequeling, and people were still being known as iconic characters and getting locked into some things. And, it would be iconic or would be common to be, oh, this guy has like, a couple of good moves. What was I just listening to a Rewatchables pod and they were talking about a guy that, was it maybe the guy that made Lethal Weapon or something like that? And it's like, oh, you do start off seeing the stuff. Obviously, Tom Cruise's career has gotten, a little bit of criticism for that, where it's like, okay, maybe he's gone a little bit more into the action franchise lane, in the back half of his career. But again, Carpenter for the most part was just an idea machine the entire time, and obviously was out there sometimes with some of the stuff that he was doing, but for the most part, it was pretty fun. You say pretty grounded, but you still go back and look, and there's like, okay, there's something there with some of his movies that they're not like. I guess maybe outside of The Thing where you actually do have, a little bit of like an alien life form involved. Like there are like, real-ish type ideas as well too. What's this Elvis situation that he directed an Elvis biopic, chat? Hey, yo, and Kurt Russell played Elvis. I guess another Kurt Russell, Carpenter uh, collab there. And we mentioned Jamie Lee earlier. I guess, speaking of Scorsese, that's sort of like the De Niro versus Leo for like which actor gets to be the one that is the number one Scorsese guy. It's like, Jamie Lee Curtis versus Kurt Russell. Like who is the more iconic Carpenter actor? And Jamie Lee Curtis is in the more iconic movie with Halloween, but I think Russell did a little bit more with Carpenter, and Curtis is in The Fog as well too. But I think it's just those two, right? And I guess we say the voice is in Escape from New York. But again, Russell was, a big part of the career there for Carpenter. They do, I guess, and Elvis was the first piece of that. Yeah, that's hilarious. But in TV movie situation there as well too. And then you have, like we say, The Thing in or Escape from New York in 81, The Thing in 82, Big Trouble in 86, and then Escape from LA in 96 as well. So, obviously the iconic movies there that Carpenter was directing. And like we're saying, the only I guess he didn't write the Elvis one. He didn't write The Thing technically. I guess I don't know if that's because, it's an adapted situation there as well. But oh, Chad, no writer credit on Big Trouble as well too. He's overrated, I guess, is what we're seeing here. No, obviously he's not. Again, the variety that he was working with throughout his career was pretty crazy. But, this is, and, again, is still able to have like a tone and a voice, obviously, for all of his movies, like any great director does. But you don't necessarily think of him moving into like a lot of genres because, again, he is almost his own like genre of movie in a way. But, Escape from New York is more of a, just sort of action type movie. And obviously, Halloween is that more horror slasher type movie that, creates a whole genre of movies in some ways as well too, or continue or extra popularizes it. But this is that more type action movie. Again, he does get, I guess, They Live is Alien as well too. We said the Thing was the only Alien movie, but it's a different type of alien because nobody actually like do you see anybody actually become, we might have to throw that one back on, does anybody actually become an alien in that movie? Or I guess they end up at the place at the end where they kind of invite him in, and the one guy can kind of like maybe get them along into the society. And I guess it's not like can you become an alien, it's just like are you, accepting of them being amongst us or whatever? We might have to go back and see the logistics of that. Hey, again, that's that, Carpenter's definitely throwing out a lot of ideas in that one. And obviously, you go back and you're like, oh, maybe, he's landed some of them. That's for sure. But again, Escape from New York, definitely a little bit of a riskier premise. And it is always, I guess, it always does annoy me a little bit. I don't know if annoy is the right word, but it is always interesting to me when people like criticize or comment on people not getting like futuristic sci-fi things type like right as well too, because that's not even necessarily the point of some things as well as like, and it can be sometimes like, okay, if you're actually trying to be predictive in some ways, I guess. But and maybe again is Carpenter like really like, oh no, this is actually what's gonna happen by 97. Like trust me, I believe it. Like maybe there is some, kernel of truth there or something. I don't know. We might have to go, I don't know if we go and research that, but again, if these if he's thinking of it up, there's got to be something there. But at the end of the day, again, it's like who cares if hey like who cares if New York doesn't become a prison by 97? We don't want it to become an island prison by 97, but in the movie, it's a good movie. So like, don't obviously like, it's not like, hey, we need these sci-fi things like, oh, Carpenter didn't predict the future correctly. New York wasn't a prison. It's like, no, it's still a great movie premise. Hey, obviously, and again, I guess you don't, like we're saying, you don't want that to happen as well too. I guess in some ways you don't want any of Carpenter's premises to happen as well. Like you don't want you don't want Michael Myers. Hey, like obviously, I guess you want the Michael Myers movie, but you don't like actually want Michael Myers chasing you down. You don't want like a haunted fog in some ways as well. I guess maybe you'd be like Starman. Like I guess you might want to be Starman in some ways. But and I guess you would. I guess would you want to be some characters? Yeah, I guess would you want to be Snake Plissken? Like who wouldn't want to be Snake Plissken? Chat, all time cool guy. But I guess not necessarily like the most inviting scenarios for Carpenter movies. Assault on Precinct 13 as well too, and that is more like action kind of. I guess not necessarily a heist movie, but action cop type movie. For one of his early ones, 76 was when that one came out. I guess Dark Star is his first one. Dan O'Bannon. The crew follows a deteriorating starship, Dark Star, 20 years into their mission, to destroy unstable planets. Hey, yo. And even obviously again Halloween sets the tone for so much of the, horror, sci-fi, thriller, slasher genre there that again that is just become such a large presence for Carpenter. But I think this might be outside of They Live, because again, They Live is, I guess it's an original Carpenter idea, but that is one of those conspiracy movies that you watch and you're like, oh, again, is it fake? Hey, like Carpenter is, obviously really, really commenting on a lot of things that are still very, very, relevant in 2026 and, still relevant whenever. But, again, this is one of his best, just like actual premise, idea, originality type of situations. Like we're saying, I guess, does it say here how he conceived? Hey, we have to ask him, where did you get the idea at? But Carpenter wrote in the mid-70s in reaction to the Watergate scandal. Hey, Chad, he's like, we need a place to keep this guy. Let's see what we can do. And an additional script contributions from Nick Castle. After the success of Halloween, he had enough influence to film it to begin production. So this was his next idea, obviously. They were like, you can do anything. He's like, let's turn New York into a prison. Again, that's how you've really found the one, Chad. Hey, yo. You're like, what? You're like, okay, you're like, we got to turn over Hollywood. Give the keys to the Hollywood to John Carpenter. What do you want to do next? And it's like, yes, that is the move. That is grossing more than $50 million at the box office on a $6 million budget. So definitely working there. The film became a cult classic, followed by Escape from LA. I guess production development originally wrote the screenplay in 76. Yes, in the aftermath. The whole feeling of the nation was one of real cynicism about the president. He wrote the screenplay, but no studio would make it because, according to Carpenter, it was too violent, too scary, and too weird. He had been inspired by the film Death Wish, which was very popular at the time. Charles Bronson, Chad. A little Charles Bronson revenge situation. He did not agree with the film's philosophy, but liked how it conveyed the sense of New York as a kind of jungle, and wanted to make a science fiction along these lines. Hey, it is interesting that, again, Carpenter didn't agree with the philosophy for Death Wish. I guess, Death Wish is very like Halloween, Death Wish. They're very much like very similar movies there, like slasher. I got, obviously the guy doing a lot of the slasher stuff is different, and then you do have a whole set of sort of slasher tropes and themes that sort of get mentioned in those types of movies as well too, about who the violence gets committed against and stuff. Death Wish is, again, just more obviously, a sort of, the guy descending into madness / revenge type of movie. But, and I guess Michael Myers, is he getting revenge in some ways? I don't know. Early on, he's not getting revenge, but there is some I guess some family stuff that they're working out there. Hey, but yeah, again, it took Halloween, it took Michael Myers to be able to get Snake Plissken, Chad. Hey, and imagine, just from a character standpoint as well too, like, I don't know if anybody has cooked up two better characters back to back than Michael Myers and Snake Plissken. Like, that is great stuff. I mean, again, and two real people as well. Two real people characters. It's not like E.T. and then, the Jaw Shark or something like that. Or, James Cameron's like, I'm going to make a Terminator and an Avatar. Like, I guess, James Cameron's a pretty good character maker in his own career, but even his biggest movie is Titanic. as well. So there is like, well, I guess no, it is Avatar, but from a legacy standpoint, it is like the historical film as well. It's not necessarily like, but I guess his original creations. Ayo, what are we saying? It's both for him there because the Terminator and stuff. It's all there. But Terminator is basically like a sci-fi Michael Myers in some ways. True Lies as well too. Hey yo, Terminator, Aliens, The Abyss, Terminator 2, True Lies, Avatar. So it's the Terminator and the Avatar frame. But again, those are like a ways away. The Aliens remake is great, but that's not necessarily a James Cameron character. I guess I'm sure he was important in the continuing evolution of the character AEO. But in terms of him actually cooking up these guys, I can't even think of who else would be in the conversation for this. Because again, we go back to Scorsese, like it would have been based off of books type stuff, like we're saying, like Henry Hill and then De Niro's character in Casino or something like that. So it's like kind of both based off of real life people as well too. I guess there are characters based off of real life in this movie. Like we're saying, is Donald Pleasant's character just based off of Nixon? Is basically what he's saying here. So I don't know who he's basing, Plissken off of in real life. But I guess I was gonna say Rocky. Who came up with Rocky? I guess Stallone came up with Rocky. So did Stallone? How do you spell Stallone, chat? Hey, yeah, we just go to Rocky. I guess if you just search for Rocky, you'll find him eventually. Here we go. Let's see what we got going on for what he did after. But he kind of, he was an actor as well, so he wasn't just like making movies the whole time. He obviously, got onto the scene by doing that and was a creative guy throughout the creative force throughout the course of his career as well too. But yeah, after that he did a movie called Fist. Hey, yo, and then Paradise Alley, Rocky 2, Nighthawks, Escape to Victory, First Blood. Oh yeah, Rambo. I guess also a writer on Rambo. So that is pretty good. The film was directed by Ted Kochkev, written by Michael Colzall, based on a novel, chat. There we go. So we do have a book involved for Stallone. It does have something there as well. Are we gonna have to pull up the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay? I guess did Carpenter ever get that as well too? Because again, for his career, I don't know if he would have ever had the single screenplay that broke through in that type of way, but for the collective work of it, he does need I guess that would just be like some type of lifetime achievement award as well too. He got the Walk of Fame star, so that is good there. One Saturn Award for Best Music for his Vampires soundtrack. Hey, yo, can we get an accolades page here? Let's see what we got. Oh, chat. Hey, yo, I don't like to see this. We got 3 here. What's going on? The London. How is this even possible? This is for Carpenter's entire career. London Film Festival 1978, British Film Institute Award for Originality and Achievement of his first 2 films, Dark Star and Assault on Precinct 13. And then the AFI 100 Years, 100 Thrills, the category 100 Thrills, Assault on Precinct 13 was nominated. And then he was honored in 2019 at the Cannes Film Festival. How are just all of his movies just never nominated for anything? That's crazy. There's not even like a retroactive award show that he was nominated for. Or again, any lifetime. The Oscars haven't done any lifetime achievement award for John Carpenter. Like, what are we doing, chat? Hey, yo, do these people watch movies? I guess they literally don't. That is the problem. They just don't watch movies. Hey, yo. I mean, they literally, Carpenter, again, we're talking about like movies that you just put on the calendar every year. It's just the holiday implies the name. Like, I know we keep mentioning the same movie, but for his legacy, obviously it's the thing that, again, just to see that not even mentioned on the pages. I don't know if maybe we go to some of the individual movie pages, if it would clean some of that up. But hey, yo, even still for his career, like, what are we doing here, Chad? This is again, one of the more impactful filmmakers. Maybe, I don't know, we start looking into some of the details of some stuff, but I don't know what's going on here. That maybe not always getting along with the right people or something. But and he is still alive, chat. So I mean, come on, can we get him an award while he's with us? I mean, hey, yo. And he just got his star on the Walk of Fame in 2025. I mean, come on, Chad. This is crazy. This is crazy. The Halloween franchise has, been rebooted already. It's probably gonna get rebooted again before he gets an award. They're like, how much money can we make off of John Carpenter movies before we have to give this guy another award? Hey, yo. And just the soundtracking as well, too, like the versatility. Like he's like Jason Kidd of making movies. There's like just like nothing that he can't do. I guess I don't know if Jason Kidd, Kevin McHale, Larry Bird. Hey, yo, John Carpenter's like Larry Bird. He's a little like, I don't know if they're kind of the same type of vibe. I guess I don't really know, but I have heard Carpenter on a couple of directors' commentaries, but maybe I need to go, watch a couple more Larry Bird interviews as well too, Chad. Oh, England 3, Mexico 2. Hey, what a game, Chad. Hey, yeah, this is you know, high level stuff here, but what are we saying for Carpenter? Yeah, underappreciated, Chad. Hey, yo, we might just have to create our own award show. I don't know what that would mean for these people. I guess what's the difference between the Rem and Sam Awards and the the Oscars, chat? There's no difference there. Hey, yo, wait, the film is written by Carpenter. What movie is this that they're saying was the film was written by Carpenter? Deborah Hill stating that the music was inspired by both Dario Argentino's Suspiria, also influenced the film's slightly surreal color scheme, and William Friedkin's The Exorcist. Okay, which movie is this? Is this just Halloween that we're looking at here? Yo, Assault on Precinct 13. The reason I am interested is because I just watched this on Tubi. Suspiria. I don't even know if I'm saying this right, but it did have this. It mentions here the slightly surreal color scheme. That is one of the, I was like, I saw some pictures of it and I was like, okay, this looks very, very captivating. Like, we might have to throw this on. I guess I'm not always like, throw it on for the artsy look of it, but I was like, hey, why not? Got a fun name, kind of a horror movie, so we'll give it a run. But hey, yo, I guess it was inspiring a Carpenter movie as well too. So good to know. Good to know that we were watching the right things there on Tubi. It's if Carpenter was watching Tubi back in the day or now, that's what he'd be watching, I guess. But his DVD store run was that. So hey, yo, just know, John Carpenter, that the Rem and Sam Pod, we'll send you an award. Best filmmaker achievement award. You can get it for the Rem and Sam Pod here. But yeah, we're it's a little crazy that there hasn't been anything that he has been nominated for. But again, the movie's so brisk that we're just missing so much in the movie at this point. He's already crashing down in New York at this point. But again, that's the brilliant of Carpenter movies. I guess I don't really know, how some of these lessons haven't been applied into modern film. I mean, it's a little sometimes overdone that every movie is just, ayo, too long now to some degree. But, again, nobody is consistently making movies like an hour 30, an hour 40, just every single time. Like, that's just their entire career at this point. I guess I was sneaky, like, I guess I almost watched the movie. Ayo, I was almost watching Black Bag. I've been kind of eyeing that one lately. Kate Blanchett, I was, definitely up on the top of the list. I was like, what Kate Blanchett movie can watch? Black Bag seems like it's kind of fun, and it's like an hour 30. It's like Soderbergh. Hey, they just it's like an hour. Like, who makes a movie that's an hour 30 now? But obviously, again, that's just Carpenter's whole thing, and you're just right into the movie, right into the story, and it does even show you as well too, like, obviously just how you pace a movie, how you can use that time and how the momentum of the movie just feels different, because this movie, if I don't know if he was intentionally making it different than Halloween in that type of way, but here, let's look at the minutes. So we had 99 for Escape from New York, and then let's see what we have here for Halloween. Do we guess, chat? Hey, yo. 98. Was that our guess? Let's see what we got here for Halloween. 91 minutes for Halloween. But again, that movie is like a slow burn movie. That whole movie is about Michael Myers watching and the tension that's building there, hey, yo, in lots of ways. But that's the whole thing, is tension is building and Michael Myers is stalking, and he doesn't even really, I mean, there are some kills in some moments throughout the movie, Carpenter keeping you entertained. But, before Myers like really unleashes in that movie, it is the ending segment of the movie, And this movie is totally different. Like we're saying, it just kind of, do we say drops you right in? I don't, typically we're not, just ripping off puns here on the Rim and Sam pod, but it does do that. I guess, speaking of Snake Plissken trying to drop in on the top of a skyscraper, not a lot of runway there on the top of a skyscraper, but he does manage to get her down, chat. That's a good way to get a couple of, the landing gear, obviously, but get a couple of grappling hooks in the ground. I guess, you'd rip, maybe the rip your plane off, like just start ripping your plane apart factor would be something you have to consider. But they do time it perfectly. So at least the engineers at this time are good, chat. Hey, yo. They do have the engineering technology to use grappling hooks to kind of stop a plane for landing on top of a skyscraper. But yeah, hey, yo, check Kurt Russell, the simple getup. I mean, sometimes you don't even need that much of a costume. Just get the man some white camo leggings and a black tank top, and he's a superhero. And the boots as well too. I mean, chat. Hey, yo, has any other superhero? I guess I was gonna say, has any other superhero look good in leggings? I mean, that's just every other superhero, I guess, to follow. So I guess Superman was around at this time. Sort of we're talking about the maximum sort of leggings. Like, Superman's aesthetic there is a little strange if you really start diving into the order that he's starting to stack his garments. But I guess John Carpenter kicking off the leggings trend as well too for the superheroes as well. But like we're saying, he's back to the pacing. He's able to make this movie feel like a much faster, much more intense ride. I mean, you do have some drawn out stuff here, some good, anticipation moments. You have somebody kind of darting across in the background as he lands there. He's on the radio talking to Hawk, and we can get into the rest of the cast of the movie as well. But again, just obviously, like we're saying, a master of the different types of movies and the way that he can attack these stories and be in these different genres. Again, Carpenter is underrated, versatile filmmaker, as well as again, just apparently overall, even a little underrated from the all-time standpoint there. But yeah, I mean, we were talking about Kurt Russell, Lee Van Cleef, in this another major part in this movie here. But again, we were talking about who do you think of when you think of guys that have acted in a John Carpenter movie, or actors that have acted in a John Carpenter movie. Like you said, Jamie Lee Curtis is definitely one. Kurt Russell is definitely two. But you do have, I guess, the intersection of those two with, again, her voice being in this, but with Donald Pleasence being in this movie as well. And Pleasence, of course, a major part of the Halloween franchise. In some ways, I guess Jamie Lee Curtis did bounce back in the Halloween franchise in the reboot, but before the reboot in 2018, it was basically tied maybe for who was equally more important to the Halloween franchise. Donald Pleasence as Sam Loomis or Jamie Lee Curtis, and maybe you would have to argue that just I guess Sam Loomis wasn't always like saving the day. But at the end of the movies, he was willing to put himself on the line to stop Michael Myers. And he was getting blown up. I think, did he get shot a couple times? I'm not exactly sure, but he did take some damage going up against Michael Myers. So again, he did fight the good fight. That is for sure. But I mean, Pleasence is just absolutely one of the most legendary, one of the all-time greats. But he really, really is. And the great thing about Pleasence as well too is, again, is he is like a real actor in some type of ways. Hey, yo. And obviously Kurt Russell is like a real actor as well too. Like we're saying, Jamie Lee Curtis is, a real actor. Jamie Lee Curtis has won an Oscar. Yeah, no, did she win she won for Everything Everywhere All at Once, did she not? Or she at least got nominated for that. Let me see what Jamie Lee Curtis is up to here, chat. I'm trying to think if she got a nomination before that though. But let's see what we have got going on. But again, either way, from like an acclaim standpoint, she was able to obviously ascend those levels as well too. Oh wait, that's just her filmography there. Let's see, Academy Awards. Oh yeah, that was her first nom for Academy. Anyways, was Everything Everywhere All at Once. and she was able to win there. She was nominated for True Lies in 90 or yeah, True Lies in 95 at the Actor Awards, the BAFTAs for Trading Places. In 84 she won that there. So, again, there was some other recognition. Fish Called Wanda in 89 at the Golden Globes. So, she was obviously, again, like we're saying, working her way up as an acting presence there throughout. But, her and Kurt Russell do kind of sometimes lean into the genre-ness of the John Carpenter movies. And Kurt Russell, that's why Kurt Russell is so much fun in these movies, because he is having fun in these movies. Obviously, Snake Plissken, he's got the eye patch. He's, kind of the grizzled veteran. And Kurt Russell's really playing like a real comic book version of him. And then you get to, of course, Big Trouble in that movie, and Kurt Russell, kind of almost being the satirical version of, and then the sort of comments that are being made there about sort of the masculine hero, and the way that Kurt Russell is, being the exaggerated, bumbling version of that. But there is always just like a silliness, and like we're saying, and the comedy sort of side of things is what Kurt Russell is bringing to the stage, as much as it is, again, the physicality and the presence and the rough, rugged, handsome sort of aesthetic that he had as well too. But anyways, to go back to Donald Pleasance, what the point we're trying to make is Pleasance is like actually giving real performances in a lot of these movies. Like he's actually like trying to like win the Oscar every time he steps on the stage, I guess, in some ways, on the set, I guess is the word that I'm looking for. And he is like really, thinking that Carpenter is like the Shakespeare of his time, which, in some ways he is. But, maybe not every movie does, requires that type of performance from the actors. And Pleasance is definitely, given that type of performance as well too. But he was basically, really like giving it the best performances that he could. Hey, I mean, that's like kind of a, but you can't really say that for every actor. And again, I'm not saying that like Kurt Russell was not giving his best performance in this movie, but it's a different movie if Kurt Russell's like, I'm taking it seriously as an action star. And again, you can't say, I'm not saying that, to imply that Donald Pleasance took every role seriously. Again, it's just the way that the word is being used. Like, he took every role like really, really seriously. And it makes him, incredibly awesome to watch in all these movies. Like it's great. Even you start getting into like Pacino and stuff in some movies. Again, there's like a exaggeration sometimes that can happen in like, even like I'm thinking obviously of like Pacino and Heat for some reason. I don't know, Pacino and Heat versus Donald Pleasance and Escape from New York. I don't know if that's the comparison there, but it is kind of the the what do you say, like the the kind of grizzled leading man type of situation for eventually Pacino gets there, Pleasance is there as well too. And I guess leading man is I don't know if it's a stretch for Pleasance, but again, he was like right on the tier there as well too. Obviously Jamie Lee is the star of the Halloween movies, but he's again really close for the most part. And I don't know if he ever had that one main, again, role number one lead guy overall, but for being a high level supporting person for his entire career was definitely, again, able to bring that, Shakespearean mindset to the, to the, to the stage every time. You have the guy just beating the guy up in the sink just randomly. Again, Carpenter obviously knows how to set like a creepy world as well too, and moving through all sort of the underground labyrinth that he has set up here for this prison situation for New York. They're tracking the presidential monitor, so the presidential monitor has been put on somebody else at this point, so he's obviously gotten lost, gone the wrong way. And the whole just obviously premise of the countdown clock as well too, just obviously sometimes simple details that Carpenter is putting in the movies, but he just knows how to execute them and when to bring them into different stories as well. Like he doesn't really have another movie where there's like another actual like physical clock counting down. Maybe we go back to Escape from LA, But he busted out for this one, and it's like it's a perfect use of putting Plissken in the AO, the pressure cooker there, to be going after Pleasance. But again, you have Pleasance like legitimately like, I'm gonna try to be the best movie president that anybody has ever seen. I'm not like little, I guess not like from maybe a policy standpoint. We don't really get into like Pleasance's policies here in this movie, but and again, it says he's like kind of based off of Nixon. So I guess do we just kind of look at look back at the Nixon tenure there, and just see what kind of just do a comparison to see maybe what Pleasance was up to. So Chad, Ayo, I don't know, is there some sort of modern equivalency here? Like we do obviously, do we tread lightly, but we do have a controversial presidential figure where maybe there would be a writer out there that's like, what's the movie scenario we're putting him in this situation? I don't know if we start, is it just putting him in, is it just another city prison scenario, or what's going on? I don't know if, we're probably, again, I don't, I guess we're not going to go back and rehash the whole Nixon standpoint. I guess Carpenter did still make the movie to where like, Plissken had to go save him. I guess that'd be the difference of the situation. It's just short. It's a short film. Plisken's, they asked Plissken if he wants to go in now, and he's like, nah, that's okay. And Hawk's just like, you're right, we're good. And then they just, I don't know what happens after that, but we'll just have to ask Carpenter there. But what I'm saying again, for Pleasant, there is something charming about Donald Pleasance, anyways. Pleasance, chat, Pleasance. Hey, yo, we're talking about Pleasance. There is something charming about Pleasance that does make you want to go rescue him if he was the president of the United States. Again, maybe now it is one of those things. It just is, anybody could literally be the president. So it's like, well, I guess yes, of course Donald Pleasance was the president back in the day. But I don't know, there is like a rallying monologue. Is this a word? Monologue ability? Hey, yo, there is a monologue ability that Pleasance does have. And if you are going to be a candidate, like I think in any era, you do have to be able to just rip off a monologue. And Pleasance can do that. So again, that's where I don't know if that's not the only qualification for a leading man. Of course, there have been leading men that, can't really rip off a monologue. Like I don't know if you would say that like Arnold would be a what's Arnold on the monologue ability scale? I don't know if he's, if Pleasance is like a 9.2 out of 10, I don't know if Arnold's like a 7 or an 8. But, he might be able to be a 6, like he might be able to give you a decent speech at some point, but he's not really gonna like, walk you through like the whole philosophy of a movie through a scene. Maybe sometimes the way that Pleasance does, or the philosophy of a character. But either way, that ability is, like we're saying, still something that you have to have if you're gonna be at least competing in the leading man spaces. And Pleasance is great. And again, the Halloween franchise is great from as well too. It allows him to be in some of these, fun, action type movies as well. Because, a guy like him, he's going to get stuck in some of these artsy films and some of these films that are, not always going to be the most just go-to random films that you throw on. But he is in this episode of Columbo as well too. That is one of the best, I guess. And of course he's a Bond villain as well. Like who else could be a Bond villain and a president, chat, and a psychiatrist that chases down Michael Myers. But just that range right there really shows you what you're working with from an all-time standpoint. He could be the president and a Bond villain. I guess in some ways they're maybe not too different, chat. Ayo, now that I think about it, but still there is obviously a flip side to the coin there between both those guys. And obviously, the TV movie side of things as well too. Like these guys were working back in the day, chat. Hey, the 1956 version of 1984. He is in that. Are these all movies? Yeah, these are all just movies here as well. I mean, chat, look at this guy. In 1960, The Shakedown, The Flesh and the Fiend, Circus of Horrors, Hell's a City, Son and Lovers. Hey, The Big Day, Suspect, Hands of the Orlock. Like, Pleasance was just going for it in 1960. Has anybody had a run like Pleasance in 60? Hey, this is crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 movies is wild. And then he pulls in, I mean, I guess, he had some habits. He probably had to sustain, but uh, one, two, three, four, five movies in 61. Hey, and then 62, he had to take a break. He did one movie in 62, The Inspector, a British American drama film. A deep story there. Pleasance, maybe the gravity of that. He had to take the rest of the year off, but uh, again, always active. I guess the 70s. Once he hits sort of a little bit of a an older look as well too. You never always know, like especially as an actor, like when you might like hit your range. And I'd be respectful. Like I'm not saying that Donald Pleasance is bad in the movie at any time before this, but when he does start to get a little bit more veteran in his years, like it does start to make more sense him in some of these roles. Hey, he plays Loomis. He plays Loomis in a guy in a movie called Innocent Bystanders. Hey, what are the odds that he plays two guys named Loomis? Is that has to be? I guess because Loomis is based off of it's a Psycho homage. I think is what Carpenter is doing there in Halloween. So maybe there was the same sort of Psycho homage in 1972's Innocent Bystanders. But hey, two characters, two separate franchises, both named Loomis. Maybe that's why he took the role in the first place. Maybe he thought he was going back for Innocent Bystanders too, and they're like, no, actually, this is just a totally different movie. But the Count of Monte Cristo, hey, I guess we could go through and see which ones he actually was getting recognized for here. As well, the Tony Awards, chat. He was a best leading actor in a play. Of course, Donald Pleasance was a play guy. I mean, it makes total sense. The Caretaker, unfortunately, he wasn't able to win. Is this Pleasance here, chat? Hey, look at him in Method. Really showing you why he's getting award level recognition here. Although it was his sixth of his major works, this psychological study of confluence of power, allegiance, innocence, and corruption among two brothers in a tramp became Pinter's first significant commercial. I think is maybe what's going on to say there. Success. So Harold Pinter breaking through there, and then Wise Child in '72, play by English playwright Simon Gray. Not a lot of information there. Oh, he played Dracula in 1979's Dracula, I guess, as well. Laurence Olivier and Donald Pleasance, chat. Hey, we might be throwing this one on tonight. I mean, this is one of the greatest casts of all time. Laurence Olivier and Donald Pleasance. I don't know if it was, the perfect intersection of the years for those guys, but I mean, that's some great name power there. And he did win Best Actor at the Society of Films and Television Arts and Television Awards in 1959. It doesn't say what he won for, but he just won. So that's good. And then Man in a Glass Booth in 1969, outstanding performance at the Drama Desk Awards. It's like the original Tiny Desk. Donald Pleasance doing a Tiny Desk performance. So again, no Academy recognition for Donald Pleasance is crazy as well too. I can't believe that not one time he was he was able to break through. It's kind of crazy. Hey, shout out to Donald Pleasance. But not one time the Academy recognized him for anything. I guess the TV side of things was pretty crazy as well too. Was there a Twilight Zone episode in here? Professor Ellis Fowler, The Changing of the Guard, the 102nd episode of the Twilight Zone series. Maybe we have to throw that one in. The Fugitive. Oh, 1966, The Fugitive. I was like, I don't remember him being in The Fugitive, but different Fugitive. And then plays. This is one of legitimately the best Columbo episodes. We're just gonna talk about Columbo, like, it's a show that people know about. But I mean, the name I feel like is recognizable enough. So you have a sort of a bumbling homicide detective, Peter Falk, the granddad, and I don't know, Princess Bride. I think he plays in a couple other things as well too. But you just get kind of a bumbling, unsuspecting detective showing up in these situations, and it's not like a murder mystery in terms of who did it. It's just more of it's more of like a psychological terror. Columbo kind of like breaks the people down into admitting that they're the murderer, is essentially what it is. He just kind of shows up and keeps annoying them, and they're like, okay, fine, I did it, take me to jail, I want to stop hanging out with Columbo. Hey, created by Richard Levinson, TV great, Richard Levinson, Barry Levinson. I think that's Barry Levinson's dad, Euphoria. Hey, just a little film knowledge, a little Hollywood history there for you. I could be wrong, but, the names are similar enough that we'll just talk about it like it's fake or like it's news. But his role is Donald Pleasence's role is Adrian Carcini. Any Old Port in the Storm is legitimately one of the best Columbo episodes. He plays this guy who owns, and again, it's not really a spoiler because you see the murders, and it's not about, it's not about the audience knowing who the murderer is. It's just about it's just about the Columbo dynamic, and it's kind of the only show that's like that in some ways. That's not really, I guess, it depends. Some shows are, police procedural. I guess that's what it is, right? It's police procedural. Hey, yo. But he plays this guy who owns this vineyard, and his brother wants to sell the vineyard. So, I mean, what do you do there, Chad? I guess, what does Donald Pleasance do in that situation? But it's not premeditated. It's a fit of rage, but the situation is still the same, and Columbo's got to get involved. And, Columbo or Donald Pleasance versus Peter Falk is just one of the great acting, TV situations that you're going to get there. And, again, Pleasance really going for it. Like, nobody's really been ever dedicated to a role in that show the way that Pleasance is. There is a guy that I'm thinking of that, the Columbo heads in the chat, they'll know. There is one guy that's in, like, 3 or maybe 4 or 5 different Columbo episodes as the villain. And he might be the most individually iconic. But legitimately, again, Pleasance's role is maybe the best, like, one-off performance that anybody has given in the show. It's legitimately incredible. So as a young kid, this being one of the shows that was in rotation, we had a lot of old shows on in the rotation back in the day. It is what it is. This being one of them, we were locked in on Pleasance early on, chat. The performances of Donald Pleasance was something that we admired long before, we were watching Halloween and Escape from New York and all the, the more adult movies that I guess Pleasance was involved in. I almost said Carpenter didn't make this Columbo episode, but that Pleasance was involved in. So, he's always been sneaky one of our favorite actors. I would say, that he would be up in the list. I don't know if it's top 10 or top 15, but he's definitely in the top end of actors of all time. He's just he's a fun watch. There is the whole, I guess, there's some stories about maybe working with Donald Pleasance, but again, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about watching him in a movie, and nobody's gonna give a more committed performance than Pleasance in a film. Like if we were doing an all-time draft for drafting a cast of a movie, like Pleasance is a sneaky supporting cast pick. I don't know, it'd be a bit of a weird, and it always is like, who does he work well with? And I guess that's, Carpenter kind of having these oddball casts and these oddball worlds as well too. Like he's able to, find a place that Pleasance is able to actually, have some success as well too, if that makes sense. But it's a way, does it make sense like all time? Like can we take like 97 Denzel and put him in a movie with 79 Donald Pleasance? And like what even is that movie? I don't even know what Pleasance is like. What I guess it's some kind of crime drama. I guess Pleasance could, but the thing, he could always be the slimy politician. He could always be the greasy corporate guy. It's always going to be some type of, greasy role. Even Loomis, like Loomis is, yes, I guess he's the good guy in Halloween, but he's not really like, again, a good guy. Like there is like a grimy factor to Loomis there as well too. So, he could always play that role. In some ways, like if it was a drug movie, like he could be the sort of rich guy that is like overseeing the trade as well too. Like he's never like involved in any of like the selling of the product in the movie, but they do go to his house. I'm trying to think, like there's the scene in American Gangster where Denzel goes to the one guy's house. Like that could be Donald Pleasance. Like he'd go to Donald Pleasance and be like, we're trying to take this international, and then Donald Pleasance is like, rips off some monologue there about something like, about blue magic. Like Donald Pleasance talking about blue magic would be insane. So, again, like there really is no movie that Donald Pleasance makes worse. His presence makes worse. Maybe you start like, what are you going to recast Donald Pleasance as Ryan Gosling in The Notebook? Like, again, I guess, there are some things where it's like, okay, but that just becomes an SNL bit at that point. So it still works. It's just a different scenario. But like we're saying, as a supporting guy, there is some, and I'm sure we throw in The Notebook, there's got to be a role for him or something. There's not like an in-law or something to be like, how is Donald Pleasance Rachel McAdams' dad? But there's always some movie logic for that. You're like, I don't really know how that happened, but it could work, I'm sure. But again, and it maybe is. I'm not saying it's one note for Pleasance. Sometimes it is sometimes a similar vibe between some of the movies. But yeah, I guess late 70s, early 80s would have been maybe, again, obviously with the Carpenter run there, the the peak of his powers. And maybe again, as much as I'm saying he's, a favorite actor, he's the favorite actor in like the things that we watch, if that makes sense, hot take. But Donald Pleasance plays Satan in The Greatest Story Ever Told. I might have to watch this now, as well too. The Greatest Story Ever Told, 1965 epic. I could see this being like 3 hours and 50 minutes. So we might be, I guess. Well, I don't know if we want to say skipping through the Donald Pleasance scenes. That's gonna, be the wrong impression there. But let's see what we got here. What's it called? Greatest Story Ever Told. With Donald Pleasance playing the devil. Hey, Max von Sydow's in this. Oh, he's playing Jesus, chat. Hey, yo, Dorothy McGuire, the Virgin Mary, Charlton Heston, John the Baptist. We got Carolyn Baker as Veronica. I don't even remember who that is, chat. I might have to go back through the New Testament. Who's Veronica? Hey, yo. And then I guess Donald Pleasance. They have him like unlisted in the cast on IMDb. It's like Kevin Spacey and The Usual Suspects. It's like we're bringing in Donald Pleasance off the top rope. Nobody's gonna see this coming. Hey, yo. Let's see how many. I mean, there's a lot of characters in here, chat. The Greatest Story Ever Told is a pretty expansive movie. That is for sure. We didn't even look up the runtime here. Let's see. 420. Hey, yo. It is available on Plex right now, but that is a bit of a task. I'm not gonna lie. That is quite a watch. But I'm willing to throw it on. The Hallelujah Trail. He plays Oracle Jones. Is a pretty good name. Dr. Crippen. I've never even heard of this before. Dr. Crippen, a British psychological film starring Donald Pleasance, Carolyn Brown's the film's plot concerns real life Edwardian Dr. Holly Harvey Crippen. Hey, chat. Hey, yo, not a great end there for Harley Crippen. He was taken down. So plot twist. Hey, yo, Pleasance. I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm almost afraid to click into that movie. The Great Escape, 1963, Steve McQueen, James Gardner, Richard Attenborough, James Donald, Charles Bronson, and Donald Pleasance. So look at this, chat. They're like, let's just cast every man in the industry and Donald Pleasance, and it makes sense. He's like in this war movie with all these guys. Hey, yo. Steve McQueen, James Gardner, Richard Attenborough, chat. I guess Richard Attenborough and Donald Pleasance are kind of like in the same lane there. We might have to throw a Richard Attenborough, Donald Pleasance British monologue off could be pretty sick. I'm not going to lie. Charles Bronson as well, too. Speaking of Death Wish from earlier, get some Charles Bronson minutes here in the Great Escape. But yeah, we got him as what was that? Flight Lieutenant Colin Blythe, the Forger. Donald Pleasance plays the Forger, chat. What a run for Donald Pleasance. Hey, yo, he plays the Forger, Dr. Crippen, Satan, and Oracle Jones. So, again, Carpenter creating some iconic characters, but I mean, Donald Pleasance might have one of the best character name runs that anybody has ever had in film history. That's pretty good. Just Dr. Crippen and Oracle Jones, 2 out of 3 there is a good run. Sergeant Walters, Everett Sloan, Pop Marley, Roger Renfro, we're kind of in Hollywood names at this point. Gus Hawkins. That's just like a movie name at that point. The Killers of Kilimanjaro, The Battle of the Sexes. Hey, yo. I just say, is this like this wasn't the tennis match. I don't think the tennis match had happened by 59. I could be wrong. I think that tennis match happened in the 70s though. I was gonna say, it's Billie Jean King, right? I know the Michael movie happened this year, so I say Billie Jean. Yeah, that's what I think of. But I think Billie Jean King was also involved in Battle of the Sexes. Let's see what we've got here for this result. I guess now it's a movie in the history. Yeah, Billie Jean King, Emma Stone, and Emma. Do we have to go real life? Hey, yo, Battle of the Sexes tennis match. to get like an actual date here. Yeah, 1973. Though again, Donald Pleasance like sneaky actually could have played Bobby Riggs. Like that would have been actually a good real life role for Donald Pleasance. I guess and in the 70s as well too. Like is Steve Carell like the modern day Donald Pleasance? Hey, yo, I never even really thought about that, but I think Steve Carell's like, what if Donald Pleasance like didn't take himself so seriously? Hey, yo. Oh, chat, did Mexico lose? Oh, it looks like Mexico might be out. The emotions on the face kind of maybe giving that away at this point. It looks like the game's over, but they left the scoreboard is not on the screen right now. But yeah, anyways, I guess what if we look up like actually Bobby Riggs here and see what is going on? The long lost character. Oh, chat. Hey, yo. Bobby Riggs. Oh, here we go. Here's him for the matchup. I was like, Bobby Riggs, different part of the timeline there for his career. Earlier on, obviously, charming young man here. Almost a little Ryan Reynolds, it looks like. I don't know. Is this Ryan Reynolds in the multiverse, like playing tennis? Like, is this like a Mint Mobile ad that he was filming? Like, I don't know. But then, yeah, something happens here. Almost becomes like Mike Myers. Like, we were talking about Mike Myers. Almost like Austin Powers Mike Myers. Hey, yo. I think Steve Carell was doing him a favor in the movie, honestly. Steve Carell looks like kind of normal. Hey, yo. He's just like, I'm going to put on glasses, like, kind of an old school haircut and some sideburns. And like, that's it. But I think, Bobby Riggs was doing a little bit more than that. It looks like there's I guess we're not going to start doing a breakdown, but there is a breakdown to be had there. That is for sure. But shout out. And, obviously he did lose as well too. So, hey, yo, chat, it is what it is. But was the number one amateur player? Oh, in 39. I was gonna say he wasn't even the number one player in the world at all. But yeah, he was trying. And obviously, hey, I guess we talk about him. So there was something there. But was an American tennis champion and so I guess maybe he was just a real champion at some point there as well. But yeah, not the same battle of the sexes that Donald Pleasance starred in there. That is for sure. The Private's Progress. Scotland Yard detective, uncredited. Is this a Sherlock Holmes situation? I don't know. Oh, Richard Attenborough again. So Donald Pleasance and Richard Attenborough were starring together in some films, I guess, back in the day. It's directed by John Boulting, Richard Attenborough, Dennis Price, Terry Thomas, and Ian Carmichael. I don't know if those names stand out, but I guess for the Criterion fans in the collection, AO in the chat, we were maybe those names would stand out there. Yeah, chat. I'm not saying that he had the highest hit rate for his career. That's for sure. We're really gonna have to go through and see what is on Tubi here and what is not. Like Frankenstein's Great Aunt Tilly. Like this definitely sounds like something that Pleasance would be drawn to. He's like, the exploration of the aunt of Frankenstein. I don't even know what this is about Frankenstein. It's set in Transylvania. June Wilkinson had part in this film. Interviewed at Screen Siren Scream. Hey, yo, plot. Castle Frankenstein has been empty for years and the local council is planning to repossess it when the Frankenstein family return seeking to find hidden treasure and reanimate the Frankenstein monster. And then Donald Pleasance plays Victor Frankenstein, Old Baron Frankenstein, Matilda Frankenstein, played by Yvonne Furnau, I guess, as well. Hey, yo, so chat, I don't know how Donald Pleasance was starring across from Yvonne Furnau as well. And I guess, well, what else am I going to say here about Donald Pleasance? Hey, yo, again, obviously, like we're saying, a great career. Django 2, I don't know what this is. Spaghetti Western, directed by Nello Risotto under the pseudonym Ted Archer. It stars the title character. It's set 20 years after the first film. It is Does this have anything to do with what Tarantino did? Hey, yo, 20 years after the event of first Django. So it is a gunslinger situation. I guess, let's see what we got here. Hey, yo. I mean, it has to be, right? This seems like it's pretty obvious. The film follows a Union soldier turned drifter and his companion, a mixed-race prostitute who became embroiled in a bitter, destructive feud between a gang of Confederate soldiers and a band of Mexican revolutionaries intended to capitalize on a rival. Intended to capitalize on rival success of Sergio Leone's A Fistful of Dollars. So maybe just the name then was sort of given I guess they don't well they wouldn't say that in the movie because I guess it was set wouldn't have been around then, but maybe the name that Tarantino gave him was based off of this character here. I'm not exactly certain, but it would seem like there would be something there that would be a crossover. Then yeah, Halloween 4, Halloween 5 got back. And again, you do have to give him his credit for being involved in the Halloween franchise. Like he never was like, "Oh, this is too good for me" or whatever. I'm no I can't return to Dr. Loomis anymore. He's not like RDJ or something where he's tapped out. He's like, "No, I'll be Dr. Loomis until I'm 80." He's 1990. His third and final, I guess his final movie ever is Dr. Loomis and posthumous footage, but his third to last movie is Dr. Loomis and Curse of Michael Myers in 1995. Then he did Safe Haven, and that was a posthumous release as well too. He was Dr. Loomis fighting Michael Myers from the grave, literally. So again, he was committed to the role the entire time there as well. But yeah, one of the most stacked film careers that you ever had. And like we're saying, when it comes to a guy on screen as well too, just one of the more committed presences that you're ever gonna get. And Chad Ayo, a little Isaac Hayes cameo as well too. We do love like we said, the musician for actor crossover there as well. Gets a couple of another sneeze. Oh no. Oh, Chad, that one snuck up there quick. Hey, yo, that one was that thing's turned there quickly. Hey, yo. It is what it is. But what are we saying for our guy? Shout out to Mr. Hayes. Hey, yo, we like to see him in this film here, and like we say, obviously continues to add to the stat cast that we get for this one here. Let's see what we got for other film roles. Oh yeah, obviously we get a bartender situation in Shaft here, then the Duke in Escape from New York as well. We have Robin Hood Men in Tights in 93, Shaft in 2000, an uncredited role there as well. And then I guess posthumously in 2008, Bertie Mac, Samuel L. Solman. Hey, yeah, we got him in that one as well too. Oh, Arnell, Hustle and Flow, '05. So, hey, obviously legendary, career in multiple lanes. So, just all around, like we're saying, shout out there for Isaac Hayes. But yeah, I mean, we also have to mention Lee Van Cleef as well too, chat. Hey, yo, I mean, come on, look at the Western vibe for Van Cleef. I mean, who rocks the cowboy hat better than Van Cleef? Served in the Navy during the second, a minesweeper on the USS Incredible. I guess is how it kicks off the Wikipedia page there. Appeared in The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, The Big Gun Down, Death Rides a Horse, Day of Anger, Beyond the Law, Return of Sabbath. I don't think he ever changed a costume in his entire career. He just went from set to set, and he was like, okay, I'm back. I'm here, bearded cowboy on this set now, this time. And he's just like, okay, I'll move from El Condor, Captain Apache, Max, Ride of the Magnificent Seven. I mean, they were making a lot of Westerns back in the day, make no mistake. It was the film of the day. But it was also Lee Van Cleef's career choice. He's like the the Jean-Claude Van Damme. It's like he's like the John Claude Van Damme, the Jean-Claude Van Damme of Western movies. He just like, you have a Western for me, I'm there. I don't even think he had a car back in the day. He just had a horse, and he just rode from Western to Western. Oh, Chad, do we go top 5 worst movie tattoos? It might be the worst movie tattoo of all time. The snake on Snake Plissken's belly, it's terrible. And then they got Pleasance. See, I mean, chat, Ayo, Pleasance right away. You get Pleasance, we get him in captivity here, up against the wall. And, this is good. Again, Carpenter. Always send a creepy world. You've got the main bad guy just doing target practice around Donald Pleasance. Like, that's good stuff. Nobody's ever, like, reused that in a movie. Why not? Like, there's no scene in John Wick where, like, they've got just, like, or, like, The Equalizer or something. I guess, The Equalizer, they got different people there. But, there's no just, like, see, it's like, okay, let's just tie this guy up and just fire bullets around him. Like, or, obviously, I guess the, like a high level captive as well too, or something like that. Obviously, again, they got the president here, but it was, I guess they didn't like necessarily go in and capture him. He crashed into the prison. So, and maybe is that a little bit, I don't know if we steal a category from the rewatchables here. Is that a little bit of a little bit of a flaw with the movie? Like, I don't know why the flight path of the presidential plane is over the Manhattan prison. It does seem like that's obviously a good chunk of land there, but it does seem like if you were having the president, fly around, that maybe you would just, that would be no fly zone. Just in case. It's like, again, you never know. Like, you don't want the president's plane to get shot down anywhere, or his pod or whatever. But and I guess maybe it was what? Yeah, they ejected the pod, so then the pod just landed in the penitentiary there. So, again, obviously, somebody did some bad math on the flight pattern, and that didn't work out. But yeah, just a tough situation. And then obviously you get is this well, maybe I don't know if I talked over it yet or not. I don't think I did. We're definitely gonna know it when we see it. But we get the iconic quote of, oh, you're the king of New York, the Duke of the hey number one. And again, only Pleasance can deliver the line like that. Only that kind of like shaky tremblingness that he gives the line, but then his ability to like accelerate the volume through it as well too, where he starts off like kind of like you're the king of New York and the Duke and A number one, and then he just kind of like gets into it as he goes. But again, Pleasant, he really is like a one of one. Like who else got to the level of, like we're saying, almost a leading man, but was in the lane that Pleasance was. Like I don't really know who else would be doing that. Even in modern times as well too. I mean, we've talked in modern times as well about, do we have a little bit of a like every actor now is obviously a good looking in a different type of way. Like I don't know if there is a Donald Pleasance the Donald Pleasance type hanging around in 2026. But again, just from what you get on screen as well too. Like we made and I guess I have to tread lightly now from what I'm saying. For everybody, again, Donald Pleasance is a good looking guy. We gotta give him his respect there as well too. Shout out to Donald Pleasance. But I was talking about like Steve Carell. Like Steve Carell again is just a different beat on screen than Pleasance is. Like they're both funny on screen, yes, but Steve Carell's like doing comedy and he can do serious acting. Like Pleasance is not really doing comedy. Pleasance is doing serious acting, and then it's usually because it's out of place, it's hilarious. And again, it's like Steve Carell has never had the, maybe I don't know, we throw in like Welcome to Marwin or something like that again, but has he had like the I'm going for the Oscar moment here, but this is not the Oscar movie or something like that. Like Donald Pleasance in Crazy Stupid Love is just a totally different scenario than Steve Carell or somebody like that. Or again, even like is like what's the difference between Donald Pleasance and Tom Hanks? Hey, now we're in the hot take territory. That's obviously we're just messing around, chat. Hey, it is what it is. But again, just for like what lane of actor is he in? Like I don't even really know, what who else is in his tier at this point. Like we're saying, the truly unique Donald Pleasance. But shout out, like we're saying, a legendary guy. One of our favorites. But yeah, I guess we were talking about Lee Van Cleef, the Western star himself as well too. Until he gets escaped to New York is like the one that finally breaks out of that. And then what's the Octagon in '98? Oh, chat. A martial arts film starring Chuck Norris, Karen Carlson, and Lee Van Cleef. The film involves okay, chat. Guess what this plot's about? It involves a martial artist who must stop a group of terrorists trained in the ninja style by his what? By his master or something like that. What's it say? Oh, by his foster brother. Hey, yo. So Chuck Norris is adopted. Chuck Norris is adopted to this family. He has to save the family. Chad, who would have guessed in 1980 that they would have been making that movie? But I guess it's also got Lee Van Cleef as well too. Does make me think. I guess is that Scott Glenn that plays in Daredevil? He plays like the old guy in that. I guess Lee Van Cleef born in 25. You know, he probably wouldn't have made it to the Daredevil show. I don't know if that is Scott Glenn or if I'm just making that up at this point. It might be. I think I just what did I just have on? Silence with the Lambs. So I think I'm just making up that it was Scott Glenn and not thinking about it here. Let's see. No, is it Ben Ulrich? Is that the old guy? No, that's the different old guy. That's the journalist old guy. Who is the Stick? His name's Stick. Who plays Stick in Daredevil? Chat. Hey, I have to look this up. Stick in Daredevil. Pause. Hey, yo, actor. Yes, maybe that's not better. It is Scott Glenn. Okay, shout out. Like Lee Van Cleef could have been like, you know, all right, he was, I guess, before Scott Glenn. I guess Scott Glenn is kind of a Lee Van Cleef type. See, we have a modern day Lee Van Cleef. We don't have a modern day Donald Pleasance. Hey, yo. Let's see who is the modern day Donald Pleasance. I guess how do you spell his name, chat? We'll get an autocorrect here. Gold Pleasance? No. Donald Pleasance. Let's see what we get for this. Willem Dafoe? I guess Willem Dafoe kind of, but maybe not quite as eccentric. That's pretty close. That's pretty close. Mads Mikkelsen? Peter Stormare? Toby Jones? Like Toby Jones is, I don't think, the leading guy that Pleasance is. I just from in terms of the roles that he's gotten. I could be wrong, but I just can't think of like a ton of Toby Jones roles, though they are, you know, very similar actors in that lane. And who else do we have? Malcolm McDowell as well too, playing Dr. Loomis in the Rob Zombie Halloweens, I guess, as well. It's been a while there. Ed Harris is a little, it says, known for his intensity, a little too intense, a little too tough guy to be Pleasance. Like, I don't know if Pleasance could turn on the tough guy role the way that Ed Harris can. But even Dafoe, like, Donald Pleasance playing, like, the Green Goblin, like, he definitely gets into it the same type of way. Like, he could definitely play the tortured, what do you say, like, the sort of voice speaking to yourself would be, like, insane if Donald Pleasance was doing that. But, I don't know, him and Dafoe is still a little bit of a different lane, and you know it's not a bad that's not bad crossover there for the comparison. But it does say the Google AI, there is no one-to-one direct equivalent, but Willem Dafoe is the closest modern actor to Donald Pleasance, both striking unconventional look and commanding slightly unhinged screen presence. I think Dafoe plays crazier a little bit better. Oh yeah, what does this say? There's a whole Reddit thread here dedicated to who is the modern day Donald Pleasance. Paul Giamatti is an answer here. It says, that's funny because I'm the one who asked about Walter Matthau, and this is okay. So that maybe they're saying Paul Giamatti is the modern day Walter Matthau instead. Yeah, Paul Giamatti plays more, again, like direct comedy roles. John C. Reilly is also in that lane as well. For who did we just say here? Paul Giamatti. But I wouldn't really say Pleasance. Yeah, we're getting Dafoe, Russell Crowe, John Malkovich. John Malkovich is even a little more, like, villainous than Pleasance is, if that makes sense. Justin Long as Donald Pleasance. Victor Garber as the modern-day Donald Pleasance. Maybe a little bit more of a deeper cut, but not bad. Dan Stevens. A couple people say Dan Stevens. Like a more, like, I guess, again, we don't have, you know, the unconventional look Donald Pleasance. We just, who's hot Donald Pleasance? Dan Stevens. English actors of his generation always did a lot of, it says English actor of his generation always did a lot of trash. If you look at his movies he did around Halloween, almost none of them exist. In this sense, Malcolm McDowell was a great pick for Rob Zombie remakes. I'm going to argue Malcolm McDowell. Shout out to Escape to Witch Mountain, my fave Donald Pleasance role. So there we go, chat. Put Escape to Witch Mountain on your Donald Pleasance, watch list there. When Anthony Hopkins slumps it or camps it up a bit, oh, chat, that's not bad. Like a Anthony Hopkins mailing in, like Donald Pleasance is like Anthony Hopkins when he mails it in. That's not bad. Stellan Skarsgård, somebody says Stellan Skarsgård as well too. Stellan Skarsgård's a little. They're both the same level of serious. That is for sure. But Stellan Skarsgård's actually like too good of an actor. Like Donald Pleasance, I don't think could be what's the name of the guy in Dune Part 2? I forget that guy's name. The Baron? Or maybe that's more Dune. No, it's Dune 2. Dune 1? Dune 1 or Dune 2? Hey, I guess he's in both, right? But he couldn't. I don't think Pleasance could be that role, even if you gave him the fat suit and stuff like that, and gave him the vape and stuff, and he's dumping him in the oil, and it's all gross. But I don't know if he quite gets to the level of menacing that Stellan Skarsgård could get to there. Somebody said Ethan Hawke. That's just obviously a joke because that's nothing there. Helen Mirren is a comp that somebody is given here. An exceptional, respected English actor full of gravitas who nevertheless is not afraid of slumming it. Oh, chat. Helen Mirren. Poor Helen Mirren. AKA essentially being the best actor in a given genre or popcorn film. David Warner would be another comparison, but he sadly passed 2022. Rest in peace to David Warner. Lance Reddick. Oh, Ralph Fiennes. Patrick Wilson is not bad as well, too. He could play the president, but spends most of his time leading horror movies. Matthew Maurer. Alfred Molina, another Spider-Man mentioned as well, too. So basically, Donald Pleasence should have been a Spider-Man villain. And I guess he did pass in 2002, so it would have been, or I guess his last role there was in 2002. I don't know exactly when he passed. If we go back to that or not. But, so he wouldn't have been there for the Spider-Man movies. But, he would have been 95 is when he ended up passing away. I guess, yeah, and then 2002 was, or whatever it was, the posthumous footage that we're seeing there that they dropped him into. But, yeah, I guess if it was just if he hit the timeline a little bit of a different time and it overlapped with the Spider-Man movies, yeah, he definitely could have been in a Spider-Man villain role for sure. But honestly, a Bond villain's a pretty good. I can't imagine him in a better superhero role ish crossover than like a Bond role as well. And obviously, legendary apparently got some legendary game as well too. Four spouse run for our guy Donald Pleasence here. We hate to turn into REMINGTOM TNZ. Married 4 times, 5 daughters from his first marriage, include Angela. His last marriage was to Lisa Kentwood. He lived near the eastern side of Kew Bridge. He lived in the south of France for a number of years. Of course he did, chat. Of course he did. He died in his home in Saint Paul de Vence, France. Heart failure. You hate to see it. Rest in peace to the great Donald Pleasence. The 1990 film was dedicated to Donald Pleasence. The 1998 Halloween film H2O was also dedicated to Pleasence. Double dedication for Donald Pleasence for the Halloween franchise. Again, just real MVP there. Voice actor Tom Kane provided a voiceover for Loomis in the film. In the 2018 film Halloween, comedian Colin Ma voiced Loomis. In 2021, Tom Jones Jr. played Loomis wearing prosthetic makeup to resemble Pleasence. Loomis' voice was again portrayed by Mon. Dr. Evil, the character played by Mike Miles and Austin Powers, and Dr. Claw from Expense Gather are parodies of Pleasence's performance of Blofeld in You Only Live Twice, which I guess actually, you know what? Now that because Blofeld, you have Christoph Waltz plays Blofeld in the new Bond movies, Inspector, and what's the other one called? Is it Quantum of Solace that he plays? And I guess No Time to Die. He's not in that. He's just Inspector. I think he might die Inspector, but Christoph Waltz, is a little Donald Pleasence as well too. Again, obviously Christoph Waltz was able to get into an Academy conversation that obviously that Pleasence was not. But in terms of styles, they were definitely pretty similar. And I don't know if it was do I blame the Britishness for Donald Pleasence? Like, I don't know what it was. But there was just a little extra sauce that, again, he was in the serious actor lane, but he was so serious about it that it's like he almost overshot it every single time. But to a way that was like, it was still perfect for whatever role he was in. Yeah, I don't know if anybody has ever been a more committed actor. Like, you do say, like, Daniel Day with getting into the roles and stuff, that's for sure. But, again, I don't know if anybody has literally, like, overacted in every role than Donald Pleasence have. Maybe again, like, the run that Pacino was in there for a while would be kind of close. But in terms of in terms of the consistency out throughout the course of a career. Like obviously Pleasance is top notch there. So this is I obviously Loomis would be like the apex mountain for Pleasance for his career, but this is pretty close there. This is an iconic role, and again, it's the partnership with him and Carpenter as well too, and the sort of byproduct of the relationship with just Pleasance being in the Halloween franchise there. And really, again, like we're saying, what the Halloween franchise did for, his legacy name as as well. But like we're saying, for the Carpenter crossover power rankings, like Pleasant's probably maybe third on the list for collaborators. I guess we'd have to go back through and really look through. But obviously, again, the Jamie Lee, Russell, and then Pleasance would be the top three names for us that would stand out there as those guys. But we didn't even get to the score yet for the movie as well too. Hey, another Carpenter classic for the films. But this is a fun one as well too to go to and listen to on like Spotify and stuff, because it is one of the more cinematic like score productions that has been put together. And again, like literally soundtracked everything. He did like who did like I can't believe, like, again, like how is this guy not awarded for stuff? Like who did this? Like we don't even have a sports performance that is equivalent to John Carpenter. Hey, where he's writing the movies, he's directing the movies, he's scoring the movies. Like maybe I was gonna say like Tarantino's not scoring the movies. Like Tarantino maybe casts himself to act in the movies, but I would say scoring the movies is more impressive than acting in the movies. Maybe just to make the John Carpenter case. I don't know, but I would stand by it. So you got Halloween, Dark Star, Escape from New York, Halloween 2, 3, The Fog, Big Trouble, Prince of Darkness, They Live, Christine, Body Bags, In the Mouth of Madness, Village of the Damned, Escape from LA, Vampires, Ghost of Mars, the Assault from Precinct 13 being released later in 2003. I mean, he does have it's like how I just saw this post of like how LeBron, they like divide up his career by like every time he changed teams. And it's like, oh, every time, it's even if you divide the Cavs tenure up into two different Cavs tenures, it's like every time LeBron changed teams, he had another Hall of Fame career. And it's like, that's Carpenter. It's like every aspect you look at for his career, it's a Hall of Fame career. It's like a Hall of Fame director, a Hall of Fame writer, a Hall of Fame film, or a Hall of Fame, basically composer for these movies as well too. But he was like literally doing all of those things for the same films. So, like we were talking about Donald Pleasance, a one of one talent, like Carpenter is a one of one talent. And we don't have that now as well too. I don't think there is a guy scoring their own movies. I could be wrong. Unless Hans Zimmer is going to get behind the camera at some point in direct, or maybe Ludwig or something. I don't know. But would like Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach score their own movie at some point? I don't even know who are the musical directors out there. But there doesn't seem to be any, and there really hasn't been anybody in the Carpenter lane after that as well too. It is the most unique lane is it the most unique lane that anybody's ever had? The director composer lane. And he was able to consistently, make that awesome. And he was able to obviously really excel in the time period that he was in as well too. Like the fact that Carpenter hit the 80s, it really is a little, well, I guess, Steph in some ways made the era that he played in, but it is a little like, like some of the 3-point shooting guys hitting the era that they did, where it's like Carpenter's synth work in the 80s is, perfect for the 80s. And it, it's just so iconic when you go back and listen to it. But I'm sure, again, if he would have, been in a different part of the, timeline, he would have just evolved. Carpenter doing 90s R&B, like I don't know how he would have evolved the sound, but he would have figured it out at some point. But the soundtrack for Escape from New York, like I say, if you go back and listen to that, they do have different clips of the movie worked in throughout, and they don't really have that in the other Carpenter ones. Like you do have maybe like track titles and maybe different things to kind of clue you in as to where you're at in the movie. And obviously you can just get a sense of like, oh, I've heard this part in this part of the movie so much, but it really is like a much more immersive, fun experience to go back and throw on the Escape from New York one. I would say in terms of the listening experience, I don't know if it is like quality wise, I mean, you could argue that quality wise, it is the best soundtrack that he ever did. But I think listening experience for, just replaying the actual album, it is the best album listening experience that he has. And again, at least I'm talking about the Spotify edition as well too. I don't know if they have all the skits in like the old school, vinyl version as well. Oh, you see here you have like the 2000 remastered. You have the different run times in the track. So yeah, this is the 57 minute. This one here, the original, is just more the score, I guess. The 37 minutes. But yeah, you add in the prison introduction, so you get like the Jamie Lee Curtis monologue. You get the conversation between Hawk and Snake Plissken in there. You get a bunch of course, the interactions, obviously, in the New York. You get where's the yeah, you're the Duke of New York, hey, number one. You get that in there as well too. So you get all the iconic lines and moments. And again, obviously, if you haven't seen the movie, you may not necessarily, get every single like little plot point that they reference throughout. It does help if you've watched it in total. But if you have watched the movie, again, it does make it a fun, condensed, audio version of the film there. And chat, hey yo, the group almost makes it out. They unfortunately, like, the one guy just like steps on a steps on a mine or something. It is, it is what it. They were kind of setting him up for it at some point. But yeah, I guess, again, for Carpenter, for Carpenter on the score here, this is iconic stuff. And again, literally everything about Halloween is gonna be probably number one for Carpenter there. But Carpenter album experiences, I think you got to go Escape from New York there. Again, I guess you're going Carpenter movies, Halloween, Carpenter characters, Michael Myers, Carpenter score, the Halloween score probably still does go number one for him as well too. I guess Carpenter Kurt Russell collabs. You could probably say that Escape from New York is number one there, though obviously, Big Trouble is great as well. And we are in the anniversary. This was a July 4th ish release when it dropped in '86, so we could have done the anniversary for that one, but honestly, it was Donald Pleasance was the deciding factor there. So I was like, well, we have to do the Donald Pleasance movie first, and I guess this movie was first in the timeline anyways. So makes sense to knock it out first when we have the opportunity to get this one watched before Big Trouble. But we'll get around to Big Trouble for the next anniversary for that one as well too, because again, the combo of Carpenter and Kurt Russell is iconic, and just the hang of that movie is just obviously too iconic as well too. But yeah, did we even give Snake Plissken enough credit for the name as well? I guess we were talking about Donald Pleasance's characters' names earlier, but yes, I guess we do also. Unfortunately, Snake Plissken is a better name than what Pleasance had for his guys earlier. Pleasance just had the run of names that was more impressive for him there. But I don't know if anybody else has any. There's never even been another movie character named Snake. I don't think. It's just been impressive, and I don't even know where Carpenter got Plissken from. If that's just like a neighbor that he had or a family member or something, but Snake Plissken, that could be there has to be just like a formula there. And it's not, I guess he didn't even like, it's not like he just started like naming his people like after animals at some point. Like that would have been a fun Carpenter twist to some career. It's not like the people in They Live. It's not like his name is like, you know, Cougar Johnson or something like that. Like that'd be cool. Like again, there's a lane there that really works. So maybe I'm gonna steal that if Carpenter, Carpenter left it on the table there. Oh, chat, you hear the big synths in the back. Oh, maybe this is the number one score. Like we're saying again, the Halloween, just the sound of it is too iconic. But yeah, in terms of the quality, no, it's close. It is close. This is definitely a little bit. I guess do you say more terrifying than Halloween? That'd be an interesting experiment. Like, what if you switched? And hey, we got YouTube for so much out there. There's so much like editing, cross editing stuff. Like, what if I flip this with this? Like, what if we just edited Halloween with the Escape from New York score on it? Like, that would be crazy if Michael Myers was stalking her down. Burner. Like, I think it would be equally as intense. But again, I don't know if it changes it and makes it better. Like, it's just different, but it would still work at the end of the day. So it shows you, again, the vibe that Carpenter is able to create here. The scaling the wall even at the end is, hey, Carpenter, predicting a couple things there, I guess, but obviously, intense stuff there as well too. Pleasant's getting his revenge, Chad. You're the Duke of New York. Hey, number one. Chad, again, only Pleasance could be as committed. And his tactical training as Dr. Loomis, I guess, takes over here. Again, you don't think of him as an action hero, but Dr. Loomis does have is packing a lot throughout the course of his career. And Pleasance, he had a chance to save Kurt Russell. I guess he waited to flip the switch to get Kurt Russell up the wall there, because he just kind of easily reaches over and does it afterwards. But he obviously has to wait to just fully, use the full auto there real quick on the Duke of New York, which again, rest in peace to the Duke of New York. He was a number one, but unfortunately, Donald Pleasance was just out for revenge. It is what it is. But then you even have the fact that Plissken is got his own sort of, like we're saying, the timer there as well too, the nanotech. Like, that's pretty good. That was a pretty good piece. Like, I think if you're doing a futuristic situation, oh, chat 2-1, the buzzer beater, you love to see it. So, and Plissken, he's able to make it out okay. But if you're able to get like one really good prediction with a futuristic movie, I think that's what counts. You don't need, again, to set the whole world correctly. You're creating a fake, fake situation, a fake movie. Like, it's okay if it ends up in 1997. Again, like we're saying, New York, I know they just won the finals this year, but 97, like, they were right on the edge of getting Latrell Sprewell and, going back to the finals. So, there were some positive things for New York there that they had to focus on. But again, obviously, to I think get some of the tech stuff cool. Obviously, like we're saying, just the idea in general still holds up as a great action premise. And then you get the iconic performances from Pleasance, from Russell, Carpenter on the synths. Chat, like, it really is probably, well, I guess, like we're saying, you start listing all of the Carpenter movies, it's like Kendrick albums. Like, you could really kind of rank the Kendrick albums however you want to rank them. It's like, okay, I guess I can't really tell you that you're wrong, even though I might, it's like, oh, you have Good Kids, Mad City, where? But it's like, I guess, well, if you read the other ones above it, Kendrick hasn't missed, so, I can't tell you you're wrong. It's like, yeah, Carpenter, I guess he doesn't make bad movies, but, he has his iconic order, I guess, that you go to. But this, I think, definitely, again, does just live up there for the simplicity of the premise as well too. It might be one of the best just simple sort of statement movies. New York is a prison, and you got to go in and rescue somebody from the prison. Is basically the the simplicity there, and obviously was able to to really nail it. Unfortunately, I guess from a what do you say, from a review standpoint, like Escape from LA doesn't hold up from that sort of reviews type of way, but it is a cult classic, and has iconic moments, has the iconic basketball scene as well. So another one of the, actually, like we're saying, the only other times that he kind of went into the sequel bag was to double back and escape from Snake Plissken. Was such a good character that really just again shows you, like, Snake Plissken was such a good character that they had to double back and have another Snake Plissken movie. But yeah, John Carpenter, chat. What a legend for everybody involved. I guess, can we do the math? 81. How many years has it been since this movie dropped? Are we at 35? Is that it? 35 years for Escape from New York, chat. Hey, so wait, what's that put Halloween at? I mean, is it 45 years for Escape from New York? No, 45, 35. I can't do math, chat. Hey, yo. So Halloween, I guess, is getting there as well too. And you see, Pleasance is able to give you a nice steady speech at the end here. I don't know if it's like a rally the nation type speech, but again, it's charming enough. I think it could work. You get the great facial acting from Pleasance there at the end as well. Plissken limping off. Obviously Carpenter, I guess, I don't know if characters, Rip and Sigs were, obviously always iconic Carpenter movies, but I think for Plissken, it is iconic choice there as well too. So I mean, Chad, again, one of the more fun, tight, pause. What are we saying? One of the more fun, just easy, knock it out watches that we've done here on the Rem and Sam pod, and it still holds up every single time. So I guess, we don't have a lot left here tonight, but we will take a quick break, take a quick break, and wrap up the rest of the live stream right after this. All right, chat, we are back, and I would say that we have to do a summer league check, but it's not a have to. It's a we want to. You have to remember we're NBA degenerates here on the Rim and Sam Pod. So you know what? We're gonna be looking at the summer league scores. It is what it is, and it is important to check in on summer league, especially when you have bad takes about the draft. Hey yo, and then you have to look at summer league scores and be like, wait a second, I guess I'm wrong about all this stuff. Because we might have been wrong about Darren Peterson, chat. I say we because if you're listening to the live stream, I'm just including you into it. It is what it is. You know, you might have been sitting there yelling at us the whole time saying, no, 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 Darren Peterson is going to be good. It doesn't matter. If you were listening, you're included into it. We all thought Darren Peterson was going to be, and we didn't say he was going to be bad, but we were just, you know, it is what it is. You could sometimes, you know, you're just more lukewarm on a prospect. You know, it's not to say that you don't admit the basketball talent. It's not, again, the take from us was never that Darren Peterson was not, you know, top 5 or top of the class or whatever like that. It was just that we gravitated more toward the other prospects at the top of the class. Boozer's, you know, all-round game, the resume at the Team USA level, and the wins that he has put together, sort of the, you know, just the effort and energy that Caleb Wilson played with this year. And then also, again, he provides a very defensive, you know, a bright defensive upside. And then Dimbasta's scoring at his size is just so captivating that it's like, well, you know, it may be a simple thought process, but sometimes just going with the 6'9" guy over the 6'5" guy is just, you know, the simple math there. But, you know, again, like we're saying, the take was never that Peterson was bad. But unfortunately, it doesn't matter. We still may be wrong. Peterson may be better than all these guys. Again, I'm only looking at one box score, but, and, you know, summer league overreactions. Get tuned, chat. How many more months of this do we have? But I do know that if you step on the court for your first ever summer league game and just go 11 for 21 and 4 for 7 from 3, that does kind of mean something. And does that mean that Darren Peterson's going to score 25 a game this year as a rookie? Like, I don't know, but you know, I honestly, I'm thinking now, do we have to look up real quick what the rookie points per game record is? Can we, like, you know, are we gonna make some money on the poly market? Like, what's gonna happen? NBA, let's back up here. Pause. NBA rookie points per game record. Let's see. We have chat. Okay, so Wilt may make this a little tough. I forgot about Wilt Chamberlain. He averaged 37.5 points per game his rookie season. So can Darren Peterson average 38 points a game this year? Is, you know, a bit of a task. The problem is, I guess, the problem is Utah's got a lot of talent, so they're gonna be taking away shots from Peterson. That's the problem, right? But the problem is Keontae George is going for the other points per game record. No, Walt Bellamy 31 a game, Oscar Robertson 30, Kareem 28, Elvin Hayes 28, Michael Jordan 28.2 as a rookie as well. How, you know, who would have thought Michael Jordan scored a lot as a rookie? Rick Barry 25, Terry Deschinger 25. Did we kind of just crush that last name? I think we said that right. Elgin Baylor 25. Jeff Petrie, chat, we're on a roll. Sidney Wicks 24.5. David Robinson 24. Earl Monroe. So I'm trying to think like this 23-24 range. Walter Davis, Bernard King. It still is going back a ways. Pause. Blake Griffin 10-11. You have him at 22.5. I guess, is he the only 2000s guy on this list? He is, chat. So would the take be, could Peterson be the first guy since Griffin to have a top 25 rookie scoring season? He's at 21. Bill Cartwright is number 25 here at 21.7. Shout out to Bill Cartwright getting buckets as a rookie. So LeBron must have been, I don't even know why we know this. It's just like shows you how many times we just randomly have been on the LeBron basketball references. Maybe he was like 17 a game, but I'm going to say he was 20.9 points per game. Is going to be our guess here, chat. Let's see if we are right. I want to say he was over 20 for that rookie year because, you know, was he an all-star that year or just not all-NBA? He might have been an all-star, but just not all-NBA. But we can double check here as well. No, yeah, chat, boom! 20.9 points per game, 9th in MVP voting. Yeah, not an all-star or on all-NBA. Hey, yo, but still 9th in MVP voting. So could Peterson get more than 21 points a game? Essentially is the goal. Who else would be? I guess Luka would be the other name that I'm thinking of for points per game. Because Steph wouldn't have been, you know, rookie points per game, I think, that much. But I guess we can look here. He might, well, I guess he wasn't in the top 25, but he could have been in the high teens as well. But I want to say maybe Steph was like 14 a game. Again, even Luka, I think as a rookie, maybe was only like 17, 18 points a game that year. Let's see. Oh no, he was 21.2. So wait, is he tied with Cartwright? Oh no, Cartwright's 21.7. Oh, so just a fraction of a point behind there, chat, for what Cartwright was able to put up. And I do think the Keontae George point is legit, because Keontae George was, a high level offensive guy. I'm like a high volume, as maybe the word to say it, a high volume offensive guy. Stuff this year, 24 points a game. So I guess that's not to say that there aren't still 20 points a game to go to Darren Peterson as well. But again, is Darren Peterson going to be, is the Utah Jazz backcourt in year one going to be 25 or 50 points a game from both these guys? People are talking about, LaMelo Ball and I almost said Anthony Anderson. I don't know why I almost said Anthony Anderson, but shout out to Anthony Anderson. Is LaMelo Ball and Anthony Andrews? Who's this guy on the Timberwolves chat? I hate to be motivating him. As the Spurs fan over here, but Anthony Edwards. LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards. People are saying that is the best backcourt in the league. It's gonna be Keontae George and Darren Peterson. At least from a number standpoint. But it might be, there might be something there from what do you say, from just a box score standpoint. Like they may be a little higher than maybe we were predicting as well, because those are, again, these are legit numbers from Keontae George, like 55.5% from the field, 37% from three. Like that, that's good score for sure. But again, is he going to be second team All NBA next year? But it's still productive as well. And again, Peterson might be instantly a good scorer. And again, like we're saying, it's summer league as well too. So yes, is Peterson, if he goes out there and puts up 25, I mean, he may only play like 2 games once we get to Vegas. If he keeps playing like this, who even knows if he makes it to Vegas as well too. The Ace Bailey 4 for 10 in 20 minutes, that's not bad as well too. 0 for 2 from 3, so that means he's 4 for 6 from the mid range. That's pretty productive. Plus 10 when he's out there. 6 rebounds as well too. You do like to see him grab 6 rebounds in 20 minutes. So wait, what's that? If he's 10 and 6 in 20 minutes, I guess the 10 is again a little bit lower, but that would put him at 18 a game, is still not bad. And then 6 rebounds for 36. So if he plays 30 right now, his per 36 based on his summer league stats puts him at 18 and 10, 18 and 11, basically 10.8 rebounds per game per 36 minutes. So, again, if you got Ace Bailey, if you got Peterson and Keontae George, Ace Bailey, Jaren Jackson, and what do you say, Lauri Markkanen as your front line, like that is something there. Again, they obviously let Walker Kessler go, but I like the versatility of what that lineup is. And maybe Jaren Jackson's a little theoretical with the defense, like, with sort of the, if you said like, oh, Jaren Jackson could replace some of the Walker Kessler stuff, like maybe that's a little theoretical there. But I still don't mind the theoretical swing of that. And then, again, you do get sort of the, what do you say, the versatility with the offense and the perimeter game from everybody in your front, ideally everybody in your front line there. I guess, is Ace Bailey like sneakily the worst 3-point shooter there. But, again, that's obviously a pretty talented group. And then you have, I guess, Filipowski is like your center off the bench as well too. That's probably sneakily why that's like, the Charlotte getting rid of LaMelo because they have Kobe White. Like I think, the Utah got rid of Walker Kessler because they have Filipowski as their because Kalkbrenner is the guy on the Hornets. I was like, wait a second, is Filipowski also on the Hornets? No, Kalkbrenner is the guy on the Hornets. But yeah, Chet, we might have to do an immediate draft, an emergency draft board redo. Listening back to some of the rewatchables, it's like how they talk about how like Roger Ebert, he'll just like redo a review. Like, chat, we're just immediately like, oh no, yeah, this movie was, Fight Club was a 4-star movie. We're like, oh yeah, no, we said Darren Peterson was the best player of the draft. We didn't say he wasn't the best player in the draft. We just said we really like Caleb Wilson. So that's gonna be the lane that we take now for this draft. Is no, don't go back. We never said that Darren Peterson. Don't go back and look at the list of guards that we made. But again, I just thought, when you start saying things like this is the best guard since Kobe, it's like, okay, there's some names that you just, it's saying you don't say them during draft time. Like if a comparison's worthy, I guess a comparison's worthy, but still I have to look at that and be like, okay, do we just have to remember the list of names? Like, I have to just go back and pull up the list of names, chat, from the draft. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. Hey, yo, NBA draft stuff. Because it's like, okay, again, he could be a great rookie right away. But still, we had, just Wade in 03. Chris Paul, Darren Williams, Brandon Roy, Derrick Rose, Westbrook, Harden, Curry, Wall, Kyrie, Dame Lillard. So, I mean, hey, yo. And obviously, you could say the best prospect since, like, Kyrie. I could potentially get behind that. Pause. But even still, you go the run since we had Dame on that list, and Dame was a little bit lower of a pick than, number 4. Number 2. Peterson was number 2. But, we had, like, Fultz go number 1, Lonzo, Trae Young, Ja, Cade, Dylan Harper. So it's like, okay, if Peterson's in that tier of guy, it's not a bad thing. We also had Luka in that as well, too. But Luka was obviously a number 3 pick as well. But yeah, I guess, the point is, Peterson might be a special scorer. Hot take, hey, yo. But, yeah, it might actually be, it might be scary. It might be scary, but we'll see. I guess the 8 turnovers, chat, is something to look at. Hey, yo, there is a human element to his game that may slow him down early on. But, again, obviously we'll look at the positive side of things at Summer League as well, too. And that's just really incredibly impressive to, have that kind of efficiency in your first ever game. Even if, again, the competition on the other side is the Summer League competition, it's still that, there still are a degree of NBA guys on the side. So it just shows you that, he's obviously there. Because even, like, we have to compare everything to Wemby, but even Wemby had, a game or two of adjusting there, if I'm not mistaken, for Summer League. It's not like he stepped in offensively right away. And he wasn't offensively, I think, as a shot maker where Peterson was at here. But, it's not like he stepped in right away and just immediately was just like, making every bucket or whatever. But, that's just obviously, again, scary stuff to be looking at there for Peterson's box score. Kingston Flemings from the Hawks, 4 for 16 there? Here, let me see. I have it small in the background. Pause. Yeah, 4 for 6. Hey, yo, that's crazy. But 4 for 16 for Flemings tonight. So, you're bringing him in for your defense, for the defense early on and for the energy, but, obviously getting some opportunity here in the Summer League to show what he could do offensively. And then Ejiofor, only seven looks as well, but he had 11 rebounds and 3 steals is something. Again, if we're looking at the positive, and plus 10, this one obviously went to overtime and then, a 1-point game. So Chad, Summer League classic. Hey, yo, right away. Forget about the World Cup and the knockout stage. We got Utah versus Atlanta in the Utah Summer League. I guess Utah is at home, so home court advantage for Darren Peterson tonight, or for last night. And I guess, it's like, hey, what are we doing having Summer League games on the 4th of July? But, obviously, Darren Peterson, showing up to play. I was like, could I have been watching Summer League? I was like, should I just stay at home and just watch Warriors Blue versus Utah? But, hey, obviously, I think the grilling was a good time as well, too. But, yeah, it's like, hey, we might have to go back and see these Darren Peterson highlights as well, too. Igor Denham, 23-7. Chad, again, we have to immediately walk back. We defend all of our takes, our bad takes, and then, exaggerate all of our good takes. But we did say, like, that Igor Denham was something. While everybody was criticizing Brooklyn's picks last year, and again, you obviously maybe, need to have a little bit more for your 4.5, what do they have, 4 or 5 first-round picks last year? But it's like, okay, Igor Denham could be something. And maybe, again, we have to go back and look at the draft. They took him 8th. I don't know who was the next couple of picks as well, too. So, again, there is a large conversation there. I'm not trying to be ignorant to that. But you do have to, at least, like we're saying, view the talent, view something positive there. It's like, okay, they do have a piece. Like we're saying, Mikal Brown as well, too. We'll kind of see what he's able to inject into this offense from a guard spot. And then you bring in Randall. Like, again, are they going to be a 35-win team next year at best? Probably. But, it's not like that pick is not going to be a nothing Anyways, hey, yo, that's us defending the Brooklyn pick. He's not going to be nothing. But, yeah, 23 tonight, 23, 7 rebounds, pretty decently efficient. The three-point game still needs a little bit of work. So in some ways as well, too, it is a little bit of that, you play a year in the NBA, you probably want to, you want him to be decent in summer league to some degree. But, again, still he is. So, we have to give him credit there. And I guess just to give a little bit of a comparison for where Peterson is at right now, again, a Cuff with 25 points tonight, we're not going to look at the field goal percentage and be like, oh, Cuff's going to be a bust, pause, in the course of his career. But it just shows you the developmental process. He's 9 for 29, 1 for 9 from for the 3-point line. So that could be, again, there's a little bit more comprehensive offense around, Peterson at this point. But still, that type of shot making early on from him is impressive. But needless to say, if a Cuff, we said what, Peterson for points per game, a Cuff might honestly be there because, I don't know I guess they didn't just trade Keegan Murray. Chris Murray just got traded in the John Morant trade. We might have to pull up this Sacramento roster here because if Darius Cuff's going to be getting 30 field goal attempts a game, then yeah, I mean, he might, the baseline might be like 22 points a game at this point. Oh, that's right. They do have Zach LaVine. They still have Sabonis, and they still have DeRozan as well too. So a Cuff's gonna step into the. He's like, "Hey guys, scoot over. This is my franchise now." Hey, DeMar DeRozan, move over. So I don't know how that lineup's gonna work with a Cuff as the point guard, and then basically, I guess DeAndre Hunter is gonna go to the bench now as like your 6th man, Hunter and Monk off the bench. Maybe a Cuff's like the 6th man to start this year. Hey, Vivek drafting a 6th man in the first round. But they'll probably, I mean, obviously Levine's an expiring, this is not the hot take. DeRozan 37, not the long-term, franchise opportunity there. And I guess he's also an expiring as well too. Is he non-guaranteed for the contract? Hey, yeah, I don't know what that means there. I don't know, I guess probably, why not have a decent player like DeRozan if you're not gonna have anybody else? But still, I guess DeRozan at 25 million, you probably just guarantee that and then trade it at the deadline for something, right? You would imagine that somebody would go for DeRozan. Like, I don't know, Boston right now, they would be like, okay, Paul George and Tatum is not quite enough. Would they give up? I don't know if they have a first round left. They only gave, well, I guess what they got 2 in the Jaylen Brown trade. So they're like, okay, we get one of those up for DeRozan to see if we can win the title next year. Like, you never know. It could be something like that, some type of protected pick, but maybe I don't know if Vivek would, be good enough to get that type of move as well. But this will be a fun situation to see what's going to happen here because 30 field goal attempts is, hot take, chat. That is quite a bit. Going back to Wilt, that might be Wilt numbers. I don't know. Let's see here. Let's go to MJ real quick. What's the most field goals MJ ever took in a game? Not MJ Walker, MJ Michael Jordan. He took 22.7, 27 a game. Here we go. So 86, 87 early on. So by his 3rd season, so I could see that. By year 3, Darius Cuff's taking 27 shots a game. Because again, they would have traded Zach LaVine at that point. They would have traded DeRozan. So Sabonis will be gone. So then a Cuff will fully, have the franchise. And he'll have a couple years of experience under his belt as well too. So, he'll be like 11 for 30 in those games. He'll be doing okay. But yeah, what percentage? That's not a great percentage, but I guess, if he's still in Sacramento at this time, if Sacramento drafts a 50-40-90 guy who's taking 30 field goals a game, then, now a Cuff's just like the best offensive player in the league. So not say that's, I guess, not a possibility. But again, it just shows you that early MJ kind of right before, again, Pippen emerges and bringing in, like Horace Grant and stuff. And he really, the triangle and sort of the extra, offensive pieces that they bring around him, the absolute max version of MJ. And I guess that's just 2-point attempts as well, but he wasn't really taking 3. So yeah, it's 27.8 shots a game. So Darius Cuff in his first game, 29 shots. So, shout out. You love to see it, but 9 for 29 again, just the start there. And I guess Ben Seraph, 4 for 10 was Brooklyn's other first round pick last year as well. No Danny Wolf in summer. So Danny Wolf's too good for summer league, and Denham's looking good in summer league. So Brooklyn, they've got something. The playmaking forwards, they'll be, I don't know. Maybe Jay-Z is actually giving him draft advice. I don't really know what is happening there, but Again, shout out. Igor Denham might be nice. They might be able to trade Igor Denham for, multiple second round picks at some point. So that's, obviously former 8th overall pick. That's not bad there. But this is last. And then, yeah, Boozer, I think, was apparently balling out, but I haven't checked this box score yet as well, too. So let's see what we got. We don't see him in the lead for the scoring. I guess Omax, easy little 5 for 7 or 5 for 8 in that game, 17 points. Again, he's been in the league here for a little bit. Okay, I guess Boozer, 15, 7 for 11. So he was balling out, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Obviously he can be a connective guy as well, too. Not always needing to be like the lead field goal attempt guy. Cedric Howard, 3 for 12. But that goes to the Denham thing as well, too. And yes, Cedric Howard could just have a bad game as well. But, again, Denham's looking good. Cedric Howard, 3 for 12 is not like great. 5 for 6 from Hendricks is good. 5 for 8 for Omax. So you can see kind of the teamwork element for Memphis a little bit. Like, I guess, not a lot of these guys obviously are like great individual scorers, but there is defense here, there is athleticism, and again, you bring in connectors like Cam Boozer and stuff, and obviously Hendricks and Omax are more their bench guys as well too, but just to have those wings to be able to bring in, again, there is a decent core there for Memphis. We were talking about that a couple live streams ago. I guess, Chad, this is the best part of the whole summer league so far, is OKC just getting torched. Hey, yo, we love to see it. Is Chet out here? 8 points in the third quarter for the OKC Summer League team. Can anybody match that for this year? Can anybody do lower than 8 points? That is not great. And obviously, our guy Mara from Michigan, we hate to see it, but now he's on the enemy. So it is what it is. But he played well, I guess, 5 for 8, minus 27. Hey, yo. But Bennett Sturritz, their draft pick, and then Otega Owe, they got out of Kentucky as well, too. They don't really have any other picks from the last couple of years. I'm trying to think, like, who did they even have last year? Was it AJ? So AJ Mitchell's just like immediately too good, obviously, and he was injured in the playoffs to be. But AJ Mitchell wouldn't have been on summer league with the way he was playing this year. And they traded Ousmane Dieng. So is Ousmane Dieng? Where's Ousmane Dieng at, Chad? Hey, yo. I guess we might just have to go to the Google here and see what we've got going on. Ousmane Dieng, summer league 2026. There's no way he's not on a team, right? Oh, Chet, no! He will not part of. Oh, it says after. Oh, he got a contract. Oh, boom. Okay, so he's officially graduated. Okay, that's the better version. I was thinking maybe he was going the other way, but no. Look at this. The Bucks' decision to bypass the qualifying offer and secure him multi-year deal. He came after he averaged 11, 4, and 6 over 30 games in the regular season. Chat. I mean, boom. Ousmane Dieng's going to be a piece of their future. So they'll have that's great. Ousmane Dieng. And then who do they get in the draft? Who is the Emmet and Ousmane Dieng? Hey, Ryan Rollins. And then who's the backcourt guy that they got? Burrios. Braden Burrios. So, Chad, Milwaukee, not bad. Giannis Ewing theory. Who's going to win more games this year? Giannis or Milwaukee? No, it would be if Milwaukee had Spoelstra. Imagine, Chad. Imagine. I mean, you would never have been able to trade Giannis for Spoelstra, but what if you could have? And I guess you wouldn't have gotten a Met back. But since they had Ousmane Dieng, you don't really need a Met. Hey, yo. And I guess, would you be willing to give up the Met pick for Spoelstra? You might be able to. But imagine if that was even a possibility. Would you give up a first round pick to get Spoelstra back in the deal? Hey, yo. It's like Giannis and a first for Eric Spoelstra. Imagine. But that would be that would be crazy. And then then Ousmane Dieng, there's no way he's not an all-star at that point. We're really trying, Chad Ousmane Dieng, but he's right there. He's got the contract. He had the opportunity. OKC, they're gonna regret it. Scott, I almost said Scott Presti. Sam Presti is gonna be. Chad, are we an old man now? I don't even know a name anymore. What did I say earlier? Anthony Andrews, Scott Presti. The league's way different now than it was when we were kids. But Scott Presti is going to be regretting his decision to trade Ousmane Dieng. That's a name we'll never forget, Chad. Ousmane Dieng, I tell you. Ousmane Dieng. We're going to be, demented as like a, well, I guess I don't want to put an age on it, but whatever age we hit the demented years, we'll just be like, they'll be like, why does he keep saying Ousmane Dieng over and over again? I'm like, I'm telling you, Ousmane Dieng. So they're like, Grandpappy Ousmane Dieng retired 20 years ago. I guess 20 would be, that would have run for Ousmane Dieng, but still, whatever the whatever the time period there was. But yeah, 74 chat from OKC Summer League team. The dynasty is over. You love to see it. Now we'll see if they bounce back. But that was just I guess Saturday scores. I don't know what we have for the today here as well. I guess speaking of Milwaukee getting cooked by Brooklyn, so maybe they could use Jang for some of these summer league minutes. Hey yo, chat, we've got no faces on any of these roster spots for either of these teams. Yeah, this Brooklyn team is crazy. With all due respect, I guess we don't even have stats here as well too. Nobody even bothered to keep stats tonight for this game. What is this, chat? We just have one registered stat guy with 10 points. What is this, like the 1940s? Hey, yo, we just had no stat keeper tonight. We only have Kobe Stewart and Dane Denesia are the only two guys that are going to register results for tonight's game. So I guess maybe the ESPN page is just buffering here. Let's see. Nope, chat, something happened. Something happened. So shout out. Again, we don't even have links to these player pages. This is really in the depths of Summer League here at this point. I don't even know how many. Oh, Kyra Lewis. We have Kyra Lewis maybe played. We can't really confirm or deny who played. I guess there are some names here. Brandon Boston Jr. Hey, yo. Milwaukee's Brandon Boston Jr. chat. Hey, yo. Every player they have is a guy. But yeah, I guess this is why Stewart and Danger. His name's Danger, chat? Hey, yo, did I say that right? No way. Did they just draft him based on his name? His name's Dan Danger? Hey, yo, that's t-shirt right there. Brooklyn, keep this guy around. And I guess he's good. He led the team in scoring tonight. But, hey, yeah, we'll have to see. Something was going on with the stat keepers in this one here. Is that it for every game tonight then? Or was that just Milwaukee versus Brooklyn? They were like, nope, we're good. Okay, we do have a couple different guys listed here on the leaders. And yeah, I guess I did see that as well too. Cameron Carr tonight for the Lakers had 26. So another maybe a bit of a draft mistake there early on. Maybe Carr slid some picks as well. 7 for 16, 4 for 9 from 3. He did have one of those, he had maybe one of the best all-round, you say it now, but all-round 3-and-D skill sets of the draft. So you look at that and be like, okay, well maybe we should just taken that in the top, 15. But sometimes obviously the high school pedigree, whatever the factors are that, the politicism of the NBA draft sometimes. But yeah, regardless, we did that was an emergency one that we did have happen at the draft. On draft night, we did change our board and we did add Cameron Carr to it. So when I did see this, I was like, okay, this did make up a little bit for the Peterson mistake. Yes, we had Peterson maybe a spot or too low, but we added Cameron Carr on, and that was a good call because it wasn't like we ranked everybody. It was just like a small list that was like, these are the standout, just kind of highlight YouTube reading about it guys that were grabbing our attention. But Conwell as well, 2 for 12 from 3 tonight. But we're obviously again keeping an eye on who could emerge for this Miami bench here. It seems like they're going to see, they're going to give Conwell the opportunity to try to break into the rotation there. But yeah, if Carr hits, they're going to need some spice from somewhere on the roster because you got the center for Luka and Walker Kessler. Again, the Grimes and the Sexton signings were nice to bring the roster back to some type of competency. But to actually start building the team forward, okay, let's get the next steps for actually trying to win a title here with Luka. It's like hot take. You're gonna have to start hitting on your draft picks, even if they start off. This one's gonna be in the 20s, maybe. And with Luka, they're hopefully always gonna be a little bit lower as well too, just because hopefully you're having good regular seasons. But if you're not gonna be the 28th pick in the draft right now, you're gonna need to hit some of these picks, and even if it is valuable rotation guy next to Luka. But again, they don't really have like a wing as well too, so they may need Carr a little bit more right away if he's able to actually play. So I'm sure encouraging stuff there for Lakers fans. I'm not saying that we're here to have the Lakers fans encouraged, but it is still something to look at here early on. And then is our guy Yaxel playing for the Warriors, chat? Hey, yo, let's see. We did see that he's already beefing with Draymond. So I do like the fact that our guy Yaxel is going to be the reason that Draymond gets traded. They're like, well, we have to, we have to stick with our first round pick. Hey yo, Draymond, see you later. But it does seem like the Michigan State rivalry, as well as maybe just, I don't know, Draymond getting frustrated with time passing him by or something. It does seem like there is, there is a rivalry being formed there between those two guys. But he's not on the court tonight for for the Warriors. So hey, yo, I don't know, Draymond. I don't know if he's got a say in that for the minutes, but yeah, this is another group of names that we're gonna have to learn here for the Warriors Summer League team. And I guess Noah Cup tonight as well. That was last night that we had him, I guess, going for 30 points. And no stats for the Kings as well too. I've literally never seen this before. This is crazy. Every year, Chet, even for the California Classic, even for the Salt Lake Summer League. Hey, yo. Like, they still have stats. Like, what are we doing? I mean, I thought this was the whole, can we talk words here, Chad? I know that, again, we tread lightly with the AI automation and stuff like that, but, you'd think at least in an AI era, like, keeping NBA stats, we would just, just do that now. But, no, apparently not. Apparently I have no idea what Markel Sutton was able to do tonight for Sacramento. I want to know. Reese Dixon Waters? I guess, oh no, like I said, the Warriors have stats here. So I don't know what that means. But how do we know if Sacramento scored 91? Hey, yo. But I guess shout out to Jackson Money for the Warriors. 18, leading the team in scoring there. They also have Nemhard off the bench. So Nemhard and Lendenborg, chat, they're right on the, if they get LeBron, they're right on the edge. Pause. What do you say? Nemhard is just starting to get to the tier where it's like, okay, they have some competent guys on the roster. If you have LeBron and Steph and Pods and Yaxel and Draymond, hey, yo, you might be 49 wins in the regular season at that point, but you get into the playoffs with LeBron and Steph and the competitive narrows down there. You never know. Oh, the Warriors have two teams this year. I was wondering why they had one called Warriors Blue. So they do have a Warriors Gold. What is happening this year, Chad? What is happening? We have a team with two Summer League teams and we have no stat keepers. Maybe the stat keepers are playing as Golden State Warriors Gold. I don't know. But the Spurs here tonight, I guess not great. 69 points. Hey, yo. So we're talking smack about the Thunder scoring 70 and the Spurs go out here and score 60. Hey, yo. We have a starter with 2. Our starting lineup 5-2, 9-6, 5-4-0, 2-3, 2-5-2. We had like 3 guys on the roster score more than 5 points. This is tough. I guess no Terrace Reed, no Quinnance, no Carter Bryant tonight. RJ Davis 1 for 8. Hey, yo. We might be cooked for Summer League, Chad. This is not good. Gillespie 4 for 12 is a bit brutal as well. Emmanuel Miller 4 for 9. The only half decent. 11 and 12 is our highest score. This is bad. And I guess Lendenborg's on Golden State Gold. So he took 11 points, 11 for, as I say, he cooked us. Not really, but the team did anyways. 11 points, 11 for 4 from the field. Lacan Ulbrich, 13 points. Devion Smith, 12. Chance McMillan, 12 points. So the Warriors are really searching for players here. Hey, they've got 2 whole Summer League teams. This is desperate. I mean, we have to check on who's on their roster right now. It can't be that bad. Hey, I know that it's more them trying to get to the title than more so them trying to not tanking. Again, it's that extra level of we have to win as well too. Okay, yeah, Steph, that's right. But Jimmy Butler's going to be hurt. They re-signed Porzingis. So Steph, Porzingis, Moody, Yaxel, Pods, Guy Santos, Al Horford, and DeAnthony Melton. And then you bring in LeBron. And I guess, I don't know what happens with Draymond at that point. They have a cap hold on Jerome Robinson. Speaking of guys that we, chat, where's Jerome Robinson in Summer League? 29? It might be, the clock might be ticking there, chat. Let's see, Jerome Robinson, Summer League 2026. Chat, this is where the names get back. Oh, he's not playing in Summer League. He is currently playing professional basketball in Galatasaray in the Turkish Basketball Super League for the 26-27 season. Do we have to look up some Jerome Robinson Turkey basketball stats here? Hey, yeah. Istanbul resigns American swingman Jerome Robinson for the 26-27. Learn his impressive career stats. Ooh, chat, it does say there. Oh, 8.7 points a game, 1.6 assists, 2.4 rebounds. I think the international game, the points per games are a little bit lower sometimes. So 8 might be pretty good there. Honestly, we might can we look? Can we get like a points per game here? What's going on? I don't know if we can really navigate this website, to be honest. But oh wait, we have a Marquise Reed here with 23 points per game, a Young with 17. Who is this? We're gonna start looking. Hey, chat. We're looking at the Turkey League roster. Cameron Young, 17 points a game. We might honestly. I think currently we're doing more scouting than half of the league teams. I don't know if half of the league teams have ever visited an international team's website at this point. This name looks familiar. What's this? Yeah, Jalen LeCue. I think that's how you say it. Jalen LeCue. Yeah, he was another. What do you say? Like high school guy. This team's stacked, Chad. Hey, they have Jerome Robinson and Jalen LeCue. What's the name of this team? This is gonna be our new favorite internet. This is our new favorite Eurobasket team here. Hey, yo. And then wait, who's Palmer Jr.? James Palmer Jr.? Where did he play at? Oh yeah, University of Nebraska. Yeah, these are like all like Chad. This team's locked in. Is this Malachi Flynn? Malachi Flynn's over here as well too. Chad, look at this. Hey, yo. This is legit. This team could win like third. This team could like play in the NBA. Like, I mean, maybe they win like 20 games, not 30. I don't know, but still, it's not bad. Hey, yo, shout out. What league are we in here? Can we? I don't know if we sign up for this league. I guess we can't like play in this league. Hey, yo, but still, this is fun stuff, Chad. They got Jerome Robinson on this team. Hey, yo, I get myself a Jerome Robinson Istanbul jersey. EU events. What is this? North America. Okay, here we go. The NBA. So we can get to the NBA site here on Eurobasket. I guess they have the big three on here as well too. Shout out. That's a big moment for the big three there. Hey, yo. But wait a second. How do we find out what league this is in? It's the BSL. Okay, wait a second. So we gotta find. Okay, we got the BCL, the Lat Est BL, the BNXT League, the EYBL, the BIBL. Chat. Ayo, I don't see the BSL. Or is that the team that he signed with? He's the second foreign player on the roster. Oh, I don't know if that. I don't know. What's okay, chat? Hey, yo. We'll do some investigating, I guess, and see what team this is on. I can't. It shouldn't be this difficult. Yo, the job openings, 63 job openings, chat for the Turkey roster. Oh, we have to sign in. We may have to go back to that at some point. IT, save that page. Hey, oh, teams. Oh, here we go. BSL. Oh, perfect. Hey, yo. We're locked in. The ING Basketball Super League is what we have it here. I don't know how many teams. Chat. This website may need a little updating. Oh, so they do have the lead player in points per game. I guess this team. Oh, that wasn't the team. That was like the league leaders we were looking at. Oh, okay, that makes more sense. So this league has all these guys: James Palmer, Jalen Leak, Malachi Flynn, Marquise Reed, Jerome Robinson. Okay. I guess we could double check. Maybe there is some crossover here for this team. Again, chat, we're doing more Turkey basketball corner. Gallerist. Okay, maybe wait a minute. I guess I have no idea what I'm looking at here. If it's the team or the league. So we can confirm. Okay, so James Palmer is on the team. The other guys weren't. So they have Freddie Gillespie, John Meeks, Can Korkmaz? See in relation to Furkan Korkmaz? Oh, Boogie Ellis is also on the bench here as well too. Hey, yo, and then Jerome Robinson, Seamus Hazer, Durkin Dormaz, and then a couple other guys here on the bench as well too. But yeah, I guess it's not a bad team. Anyways, it obviously would have been more stacked if it had the other guys. But yeah, Jerome Robinson, James Palmer, and who to say Boogie Ellis is not bad. But yeah, hey, yo, chat. I feel like they underrate some of these professional opportunities out there. I tell you what, they throw all these stats at you that are like, oh, there's like 7 kids in the entire world that'll ever make the NBA. They're like, 2.4 million kids play in the NCAA, and only 6 of them ever get drafted every year. And it's like, well, I guess, yes, the goal is to make the NBA. The goal is to be an NBA Hall of Famer. The goal would be, if you're playing basketball, yes, the goal would be to achieve at the highest levels. But it's like film festivals. It's like, yes, there are Oscars, and then there is Sundance, but then there's also like, you know, the Burgess County, home movie reel off, what I don't know, pause, but I don't know what it is. But it's like, there are levels to this stuff. And just because you're not always in the NBA doesn't mean you can't be competing seriously in the field. So, again, these leagues are good. Hey, hot take, these players are good. You got real NBA talent, guys that could be playing in the NBA, maybe pursuing different opportunities for different reasons as well too. But again, obviously you get guys in the NBA talking like, oh, I guess now, obviously it is, frustrating, I'm sure, if you're there in their position, but you get them, oh, here's what the contract in the NBA in America looks like in this city with the taxes and with the age and stuff. And we start going on, you start thinking maybe, I don't know, a city internationally with the opportunity there. Again, there could be all kinds of reasons as to why a player is playing internationally more so than just getting minutes as well. But it's like, again, these are a lot of, quote unquote NBA level guys, American talent, however you want to say it. Like there is still a lot of familiar names that you do have here. Speaking of chat, look at this. Taylor Horton Tucker is so the number one team in this league is for Banhance at 25-5. They have Wayne Baldwin the fourth, Taylor Horton Tucker, Nico Manelli, Mikel Juanton, and then Tariq Burrow. Bitch, I guess I don't know if anybody would ever have like a all NBA roster, but Taylor Horton Tucker and Wayne Baldwin as well. Oh, here we go. Jonah Matthews, Devin Dotson, Ante Zizic, Vito Brown, and Anthony Brown. This is pretty close. I guess you have 4 American players anyways. But I don't know. I think Ante Zizic might have had an NBA run as well too. So you may have 5 guys there. I guess this is Malachi Flynn's team. So Malachi Flynn, Ishmat Akmapur, Trevon Williams, Matt Mitchell, and Tyler Kavanaugh as well. 21-9 for this team. Shane Larkin. I mean, Chad, Shane Larkin's still balling out. Look at this. 13 points a game in international play. Jordan Lloyd. PJ Dozier. Was that South Carolina? Did he go? He was in the Final Four with South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. I could be a different guy, but I'm pretty sure it was PJ Dozier. Bryce Desert. Eric Osmani as well, too. So I guess what do we have for like a 4-26 team here in this league? Kiki Van Durst, PJ Pips, Nathan Mensah, Mohamed Senji, and Vasigili Pasika. Hey, yo, I don't know if we can say that name here on the live stream, but I think we just did. Anyways, but I guess, yeah, not as familiar with the names here on this team, so I don't know if that makes sense. Was that the reserves or the starting 5? I think we were looking at the starting 5. Oh, here we go, the reserves. They have the same guy listed twice here, and then Cam Turgid and Metin Turin. So yeah, again, not super familiar with that. But shout out to the BSL chat. Hey yo, you love to see it. I guess are we just gonna go look up another random Europe league here as well too? What else do we have? The BSL, the TBL, the TB2L, Euro Cup. I guess just these are more tournaments. I think I think the EYBL is a league though. Is it not? Or is this no, the EYBL is a tournament. I think I am mistaken. Let's see. I guess is the Europe divided by country or is it divided by league? Should we go for like a Bosnian basketball league, chat? Let's see what we got here real quick. Or is this just Bosnian teams as well? Again, this site might take some learning to try to navigate here. Division 1 Bosnian basketball. Okay, here we go. Stage 2 places. Siroki. We have a team that's 24-6 here. I don't really know what to do. Okay, we may be straying away from some of the NBA names. Maybe that is just more of an NBA centric league. Maybe some of the guys go there. I don't know. But either way, I don't know exactly how we stumbled onto that. But hey, you know what? It's interesting. You find something. Sometimes you end up down the rabbit hole. But hey, I guess that's Summer League corner there for the live stream. I don't know. Do we have another game to? We got to make sure we go through these scores here and see what is going on. But I think that's us caught up for the night there. So, Ayo, be back Tuesday night. We'll have another Summer League corner on Tuesday night. We got games. So we got World Cup games now. We got Summer League games. The summer is just, it's nonstop. Hey, summer movies, summer albums. The Rem and Sam pod is the place to be. So you're going to want to tune in. I guess we have Spurs Lakers in Summer League. Is Bronny playing in Summer League? Let's see what's going on, chat. How would Bronny not be playing in Summer League? Come on. Even if he's too good, because he has been really good in the G League, like 2029, 2026. Like, we do have to give him his credit. He has been pretty decent in the G League, but still, just from will not participate. Oh, his third professional season. Oh, okay, that is fair. I guess that is crazy. Bronny's going into his third year, chat? No way. Where does the time go? I could have sworn it seemed like just yesterday we were arguing about him being in the league or not. And now look at this. He's an NBA veteran. Bronny. He's been around. Hey, yo. So, we'll have to, but, I think it's still good for him to get minutes and stuff. The Cavs made a try to trade for Bronny if they sign LeBron. I did see that they were holding the roster spot as well. So that's good. I guess you got teams that are trying there to, attack it from every angle and, bring in Bronny. I don't know if the Spurs are holding a roster spot for Bronny, but, San Antonio's a little closer, I guess. So you could probably make that work there. But I guess, Monday night, we got lots of Summer League action Monday. And then Tuesday, I assume, we got games. Oh, a couple. But Peterson will be back Tuesday night. So I guess, hey, be a little live. Peterson, tune in to see what is going on there. Keep our own stats, chat, because, hey, apparently we can't trust the stat keepers here. But, that'll do it for tonight's live stream. We got, like we said, a classic movie anniversary done for tonight. Shout out to Escape from New York, chat. Like we said, a classic. So we will be back Tuesday night, Sunday, Tuesday, Friday. Here is the schedule on the live stream. You can join us here on the YouTube. You can catch us on the podcast feed. You can hit us up on the Instagram as well. So thank you guys for jumping on with us tonight. And like I said, we will see y'all Tuesday night. Enjoy the next couple of days. Peace.